What's going on, Internet? The Black Hokage here, aka TBH. And to be honest, I'd like to welcome you guys back to the Game and Illuminati podcast. We are the Enlightened Gamers, and you're now tuned in to episode 143. If you're watching the video version of the show at youtube.com/GI Updates, know this show is available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and all other major podcast platforms. Be sure to rate the show 5 stars on Apple and Spotify. We need that 5-star rating to move up in the algorithm and bring in potential listeners. Follow the podcast on social media. We drop daily content on our pages. We're available on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Our handle on every platform is at GI Updates. It'll be a link in the description box below. Now, without further ado, allow me to introduce you to my co-hosts, the first of which got washed by me 5 times last night in a row in Street Fighter 6. I should have made it 6 since we were playing Street Fighter 6. So he might be a little bit cranky for today's show. UTX, Modern Controls the Dawn. Say what up to the people.
I'm actually in a good mood. You did not break my spirit, sir, because I know that eventually I will get that one win. I'm going to figure you out. All right? You're going to get downloaded.
Translation, knock some sense into him. Fair enough.
We're here, though. Hello, everyone.
And my second co-host, he loves to sit in Discord and play loud noises in my ear on the new Discord soundboard feature while I'm sending everyone to Suplex City in Street Fighter 6. Game and Ethos, say what up to the people.
What's going on, everybody? You better clip that and put it in a video.
Yeah, that shit was funny.
You was talking to yourself.
Oh, so like after you had left, I was playing ranked last night to give people context. And while I was streaming, like there's just like somebody started talking on the mic, and I thought it was the person in the game. They were like, he was playing rage sound. So like anytime I was dunking, like it was playing a man that was getting mad. So I thought it was him talking through the mic, but then it was him playing the soundboard on Discord. I didn't realize I was still in Discord, basically talking to myself the entire time. So it was pretty funny once we realized it was Ethos. Everybody in the chat was like laughing. So make sure to pop up in the streams. We was running lobbies with the community. Before we get into the show, friendly reminder to join the Discord, discord.gg/GI Updates. Link in the description box below. It's totally free. Big shout out to all our joining Discord members. Also be sure to other reasons to join besides free. We have a bunch of premium things. I can't talk today. I'm fucking tired. I got like 2 hours of sleep. We have a bunch of premium experiences inside of the Discord, including watch parties. We do consultations for content creators. We're doing tournaments. We're doing community nights. The last one we did was Apex. That was a big success. I actually got Ethos killed. You want to tell people about that? That was pretty funny.
I do not.
Fair enough. Join the Discord, discord.gg/GI Updates. There will be a link in the description box below. Before we get into the main conversations, freebies for the month of June 2023. On Xbox, you'll get Adios, and you'll get The Veil, Shadow of the Crown. I don't know what any of that shit is. The free games on Xbox are struggling. On PlayStation, you get a free copy of Trek to Yomi, pretty good game, and then NBA 2K23, which is pretty cool. Just keep in mind, you got to spend another $100 in order to get your character to be decent because everybody's maxed out by now. Without further ado, let's get into these leading conversations. Now, since the last podcast, we talked about Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Me and Ethos had a really in-depth conversation, but JG hadn't beaten the game at the time, and I remember Ethos talking about, he wanted to hear JG's take on the whole Jedi Survivor after he beat it. So like, what's the update? How are you feeling about the game now that you've actually completed one of the few games you actually completed this year?
The emphasis on the few, right? Mm-hmm. So I did complete my homework assignment. Yay! I completed my homework assignment, so I beat the game. So once I ended up getting to the end, I mean, I'm not disappointed at the ending. The ending did not make me upset in any way. I feel more like you, TBH. Like, I think that Cal has really grown on me, especially in this game compared to the first game. Like, I really like the struggles that he had. I had it was a little bit of a twist at the end with the secondary or the real antagonist in there. And I can see how like that final fight, I was like, yeah, I kind of expected a little bit more from that, just because, you found out about the quote unquote betrayal or whatever. But I understood like the main antagonist, the secondary antagonist struggle with that, and why he chose to do what he did. So and it was also unfortunate that one of the mentors ended up going away. So I understand those parts, and this also makes more sense now when we talked about how they originally wanted a black female as the main character. Now you see what happened. It's like, damn, like y'all actually could have done it. So I fully understand that aspect now, but Ethos, now that I have beat it and now there are no spoilers, how did you truly feel about
hold on, before we even take it even further, I was gonna bring up, how do y'all feel about even talking about spoilers? Because I could easily just say, I'll put a timestamp on the screen, just skip to that part if y'all want to talk about spoilers.
I think we're here now. Yeah, we're here now. We're here now.
I was like, you kind of did. I wish I would have warned JD. You kind of spoiled it a little bit, but yeah, I'll put a timestamp on the screen when we get done talking about spoilers if you haven't beaten Jedi Survivor. But go ahead, Ethos. Go ahead.
Before you hear you apologizing that he spoiled, because you're gonna have to do it before that.
Yeah.
So what are you just referring to the ending, or are you referring to the black woman thing?
Yeah, I think because you said you had like some theories about that. Like I remember you saying in the last episode about
yeah, it was the same thing like we were talking about before, that we had to like, I was convinced that Cal's mask, what was it?
Seer.
Yeah, Seer. I was convinced that Seer was originally supposed to be the main character for the Jedi trilogy. And it makes sense based off of like why they gave her, like, I think she was going to be obviously not as old, but I think she was going to be younger, or they were going to make her be the main character. And the story was instead going to be a focus on a master who survives Order 66 and their Padawan gets turned against them and joins the Inquisition. And then you have to basically go through hell and bag, like, suffering with the consequences of your actions, failing your Padawan, that sort of stuff. Kind of like how Obi-Wan felt. I felt like that was going to be the original like idea for Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. And then with this news, I think they were like, well, we can't have, like, we had to pick Cal Kestis, so we couldn't have Seer as the main character. But this was kind of a way of them being like, what we wanted to do originally, we have a way of still making it happen, which is when I was like, the part of the game that surprises you reminded me a lot of, we were just like, I was making the comparison to Ragnarok, how like they surprise you and you start playing as Atreus and you're just like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that. It's the same with this game. Like no one expected that you'd be playing Seer, and then it shifts the camera to Seer and then you play as her. She's like really powerful. And the other thing I was saying, which is really crazy, is that this game takes place the same year that Obi-Wan, the TV show, happens. I was like, this had to be one of the worst years of Vader's life. Because if you think about it, he gets his ass beat by Obi-Wan, and then I don't know which one of these ass whoopings happened first. Basically, he almost comes close to death twice in a row.
That could be a comic book. Vader's worst year.
It's like, I thought of all the years in Anakin's life, just Vader's life. I was like, this has to be the worst. It's like, here comes Seer, almost beats you to an inch of his life. And I see some people try to cap and try to be like, Vader had her easily. And I was like, no, Vader literally was limping away. Like
he won by plot armor.
Yeah, he won just because plot armor stayed. Like, if that had not been a plot armor, I think Seer would have killed him. So he won just because he had to live on. But like, he was definitely struggling. He was fighting for his life. And getting almost killed by books is hilarious. So I gotta give Seer credit. Seer is to be able to fight Vader compared to Cal. Cal ran away for his life the first time, and Seer held her ground against him twice in a row. I mean, that gives you a lot of credit in my book. So yeah, that's like my conspiracy. My theory is that like Seer was originally supposed to be the original design character, and when they were forced to switch, that they still included her. They just changed her like positioning of where she was in the story.
All I'm gonna say is the moment where you get to that mission where the camera cuts to Seer and you start playing as her, I literally paused the game on stream and I said, she about to die.
I thought those I was like, damn, they gonna kill her.
There's got to be a reason we're controlling her.
Yeah, I was like, they gonna kill her.
I was like, damn, bro.
I didn't think it was gonna be a Vader fight. I thought Cal was gonna fight Vader again. I thought he was gonna get his run. He was gonna get his get back. But I think that's what they're gonna do for the third game. I think the final boss is gonna be Vader.
It's so
it's like you can't win. It's like you can't beat Vader no matter.
It's so interesting, like playing games like this that are like story driven. Because like when I was streaming it, people in the chat were like, "How the fuck are you predicting this?" And I was like, "I don't know. maybe because I took like creative writing classes, like I can tell, like I could tell at the very beginning of the game when you fought the ninth sister, she's like, you're so angry. That was foreshadowing that he was going to tap into the dark side or whatever.
The dap side.
The dap side. So like, there's always little storytelling cues that you can tell, and people are like, what the fuck? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I think she about to die, but they didn't spoil it for me, and then I was right. But it was cool. There were still some cool plot twists that I didn't catch the Bode one, but then people were telling me in the beginning, I guess he didn't say the Force is with you back, and I thought about it. I was like, oh yeah, he didn't. They foreshadowed that too. So I was like, sometimes
I didn't know Bode was with you. People were trying to act like, oh, I knew Bode was.
That was the only hit, the very beginning.
Yeah, I did not. I felt betrayed. I really felt fucking pissed that he betrayed us because I was like, I was just mad as fuck. I felt like Cal. I think that was like a really good writing because then like you kind of feel the, if you didn't see it coming, you kind of feel the same sort of like anger and darkness that Cal feels at that time where he feels like betrayed. And then like you feel, I remember when you have to fight in the desert, obviously you're supposed to lose it. You can't beat him. But like you definitely feel more angry when you're fighting against him the first time.
How'd you feel about that final boss fight, Jay, with Bode?
No, I said I felt like it was a little bit easy. Like I had a harder time fighting with Vader, with Seer, to be honest.
You did play on Padawan, my bad.
Oh Jesus! I
played on Padawan.
Bode was harder than Vader.
Play on. Why does this nigga keep saying I play on Padawan? I did not.
He's got to deflect Vader. Bode.
Padawan.
Anywho, no. The first Bode fight was difficult, but then once after that first fight, then I kind of found him out. So it wasn't that hard. The second phase with Bode, like it gave me a couple of problems, but I still didn't find it difficult. I died more on the Vader fight.
That I thought the final fight with Bode was fucking hard, at least on Grandmaster, because like he could literally zip across the fucking map and grab you. It was bullshit.
I definitely got grabbed like almost every time. It was so hard to block that or dodge past it. So So what did they spoil? What did they spoil in your chat, T-Bitch? When you were playing?
Yeah, they spoiled Bode for me, betraying.
Like,
yeah, I knew it was gonna happen halfway, but like that shit kind of pissed me off because I didn't see it coming, so it kind of ruined it. And then also like it was kind of pissed me off too. With like this is like a more funnier one, but literally I was in the level where you meet Rick the door technician. And somebody comes in the chat and they say, yo, did you fight the secret boss, Rick the door technician? I walk through the door and he appears. I said, nigga. That was supposed to be like a funny, cool moment. I know you see where I'm at in the game. Like, god damn, dude.
I did the same. Well, I just played it offline, and when I got to that part, it opened up, and I was like, "What?" I kind of was like surprised. I was just like, "Wait, what?" And I ran at him, and I was like, "All right, this must be some crazy boss fight." And I one shot him, and then like I have the video recorded, and it's just me just stopping and just staring and be like, what was there, like what just happened? So I liked it. It was a funny joke.
Yeah. Let us know in the comment section, because I don't think we've ever actually done this before. Do y'all like the spoiler cast where like the next episode we talk about like actual things that happened in the game, as long as we have like a little timestamp? Let us know if y'all like that shit in the comment section. We could definitely do that more.
I'm sad though because the game is glitched for me. So after I ended up beating the game, I can't do all of my bounties now because the game is still broken. Whatever the latest patch is, they broke the game, and I literally cannot find, like, if I go to the areas where the bounties are supposed to be, they're not there. Sure, and it's a known glitch. Huh?
Sure you didn't already do them? Oh, wait.
Sure.
Are you sure you're doing it the right tier way? Like, you have to do the bottom ones first. Like, you can't go to later ones without clearing the bottom ones first.
Correct. Yeah. I was literally looking at all the people in the comments, and they were saying the same thing. They were like, after that latest patch, they can only get 11 bounties. Because I beat like the first main bounty, like the first main guy. I beat him, but I can't do the rest. They just don't show up.
As long as we're still in this COVID era where game development is still a little shaky, people are still making games remote, just get an Xbox. Play your multiplats on the Xbox, Jay. You want to be hard-headed.
I'm not getting the Xbox and play multiplats. You know.
That's crazy. It is what it is. Oh, I wish developers would do more of this too. Let me bring this up on so Respawn actually released an interesting stat for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Most popular lightsaber color people use was white. So game difficulty played, story mode, 14% of people played on very easy, 15% on easy, normal 52%, then hard 14, and then only 4% of people beat the game on Jedi Grandmaster, which is the hardest. So I'm in a big 4%. Just wanted to brag about that. But more interesting, I wanted to bring up this stat because 30% of people played on easy or very easy, and 52% played on normal. Yet you all were in my chat trying to tell me how to play the game. 80% of you people played this game on normal or lower. Please stop giving people advice that play games on hard. It's not the same thing. But more interesting though, 489 people were defeated by Rick the Door Technician. What's that doing for you, Ethos? For those of you unaware,
I didn't even know that.
Yep, over 400 people died to this motherfucker.
How is that possible? Like maybe they're all low health. They ran out of like heals.
There's no way.
But this proves how bad some people are at games. Because friendly reminder, 30% of people played on easy or very easy. So like,
I wish you would tell us like what difficulty mode they were on that died to Rick.
No, because let me tell you something.
Yeah, that would be an even deeper dive stat. I would love to see
that would be something I would know.
On Grandmaster,
it didn't matter. I just want
the minions are still easy to chop up.
He's still a one shot, isn't he?
He's still a one shot.
No matter what, yeah.
That's crazy. And then over 9 million people got killed by Rancors, which is believable. Did y'all do that double Rancor boss fight, the secret one?
Yep.
Double Rancor? I don't remember.
Almost.
Double Rancor.
There's a double Rancor secret boss fight. It's on the first planet. It's like hidden in a corner, and like you gotta go through like one of those little teleporters. On Grandmaster, I almost lost it. That was the hardest boss fight probably in the game. It was no fun.
I fought 2 Rancors, like the first. Yeah, I fought 2 of them, but I don't think I saw
at the same time. Yeah, it's a trial. Yeah. It's a trial.
Okay. Because I fought the frogs. I did double frogs, and that was excruciatingly difficult. But the double Rancors, yeah, damn.
Double frogs was actually easy to me because you can mind control them depending on how you.
I didn't have that yet. Yeah. I didn't have that yet. I fought them before I even had that ability, so I was it was. I mean,
the funny thing is, which I thought was funny when I was telling Ace, when Ace was getting mad about it, I was like, Ace, are you like using the Force against them? And he was like, it doesn't affect them. I was like, no, Ace, it was in the first game. If when they stick their tongue out trying to like lick you, if you Force grab it, you can literally stun them. When their tongue goes out, like there's a whole thing you can do to like stun them. And he was like, I didn't know that. I was like, yeah, it probably. A lot of it's just like testing mechanics, and then you realize some things aren't as hard as you thought they were. There you go. Free advice for anybody that's still trying to fight the frog. Use the Force.
It's like a Star Wars game or something.
Yeah, use the Force, Luke.
Moving on to the big game since the last podcast to release, Street Fighter 6. Not technically the 6th entry in the game, it's really like the millionth, but it's the 6th in the main line of the series. Introduced 3 new characters, Kimberly, Luke, and Minan. I believe it's a 16-man roster total. A lot of characters got reworks, new controls. You have classic, modern, and then basically dynamic, which is basically just press buttons and that shit will do combos. Modern controls, they change things to where instead of 6-button output, it's a 4-button output, and then classic is classic with the classic 6. There's a new story mode with World Tour where you can create your own character. You got online play. You could play Street Fighter 2 as well as is it Third Strike? I don't want to say that. But you can definitely play Street Fighter 2 inside of the online. A lot of content, basically. There's a lot of content in it. I know you're a big FGC fan. You watch a lot of the tournaments. JG, how are we feeling about Street Fighter 6?
I'm loving Street Fighter 6, and this has really been the basic sentiment from the majority of fighting game fans and the FGC as a whole. I don't know what they did with Street Fighter 5. Like, I wouldn't say that it was terrible, but I think that some of the mechanics that they introduced turned a lot of people off. And me, as a Street Fighter fan watching, for Street Fighter has always been super difficult for me to get into because they really want you to be super precise and on point with your timing, with a lot of the moves that you execute and the combos that you execute. And people have found some crazy streams like they always do. But with Street Fighter 6, with these modern controls, I feel like not only myself, but a lot more people who feel like you need to put excruciatingly, a really big number of hours to really get good at a fighter. I feel like they can have an easier time with those modern controls. Like, I am a modern control advocate. I'm sorry. But I love it because, again, I always used to struggle with putting in input. Like, of course, I could do a freaking Hadouken, I could do a freaking Shoryuken, but getting those moves together along with other combos, that again, the timing is so difficult. It's so unnerving for like a regular person who hasn't taken all of that time or doesn't have a lot of time to play these fighting games. Now with monitor controls, it makes it so much easier to like basically compete, because like if you don't put in those hours and get these strings together and go through training mode, a lot of times you just can't compete in Street Fighter. But now you can. And now I feel like I can actually compete, because not only can I do, one button to do combos, but now I can still put things together with the dynamic control. So I can still do everything manually if I want to. And I think that's the greatest thing, because I didn't know that you could do that. I thought it was really picking either or, but you can still do regular moves with the regular controls. And I've heard some FGC fans, some professionals actually use the modern controls and it actually, it works for them. They said that they enjoy it. So I think that Capcom did an amazing job with introducing the modern controls. So far, the game is smooth, little to no problems. But unfortunately, the one problem that they still have is the game is it came out unfinished, because the custom lobbies are not available yet. You cannot make custom lobbies.
They dropped a patch, I was told last night, that it works now.
I would have to check, but last night it definitely did not work. You have to go into the hub as a workaround if you wanted to play with your friends, and they do have a ton of lobbies there for each region, so it's a lot of lobbies to play in. But still, for that being a workaround in the beginning, and one of the original features weren't working at first, it was kind of disheartening. But if it's working now, then I'll walk that back. But I mean, I love the characters. The characters are nice too. So I'm really enjoying Street Fighter 6. I'm really enjoying Street Fighter 6, and I feel myself playing the game a lot longer, just because now I feel like I can truly compete with the modern controls.
So what you're trying to tell me here, Jay, is you are in fact modern controls. What do you have to say for the people that say you're less than in terms of a fighting game fan? Like you're less than of a player. You're not a real fighting game fan. How do you feel about that?
I mean, we just literally said that fighting game professionals also use modern controls. So, I mean, if they're also adopting it, then you can't say anything about me, who doesn't even compete. So, whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, you still have to go against somebody else on the other end. So, whether they're playing with modern controls or classic controls, if you get your ass beat, you get your ass beat. So.
Yeah, only people I see really complaining about this are niggas that drown in pools. Like, top tier players are gonna adapt, whether it's classic or modern. So like all this does is it shortens the gap between beginners and like maybe like intermediate players. But like those who are winning tournaments, they're not gonna give a fuck what you're using, because they're gonna adapt to any type of situation. So I don't even understand what the big deal is. Like when I was streaming, a couple people came in, they're like, "You're not a real gamer." I'm like, bruh, I was on an 8-game win streak in ranked. You're not a real. I was like, I don't know. Sure, beating all these niggas that's doing all these goofy ass combos, and it's because I understand the fundamentals of fighting games with, anti-airs, footsies, and all this other shit. But I just don't want to sit there and be in the lab fucking learning all these goddamn combos. And then also, I like classic controls on some of the other characters, like Marissa, then like Ryu and Ken. But then like for Zangief, I preferred to play modern because he's already at a disadvantage being a grappler. Like it's already hard to get in on the inside. So like, why would I want to sit there and struggle with all these fucking quarter circle inputs and shit when I can just hit a damn button to grab your ass? Like if you're really that good, then don't get dunked, bitch. And you're just mad you're getting fucking dunked. So I'm having a lot of fucking fun. I'm having a lot of fun with this game. To circle back in terms of like the package as a whole, I feel like this game is like one giant apology for Street Fighter 5. Street Fighter 5 was so bare minimum. For those of you who don't remember it, literally, I don't even think it had an arcade mode at launch. This shit basically has 2 story modes. You got the world tour and then arcade, where like if you play through it, it'll give you like cutscenes and stuff like that. The online, it's I played a little bit more than Jay. I would say it's, if I had to give it out of a 10, it's like an 8. Like it's not perfect. Like I've gotten into some laggy matches, but it's far better than Street Fighter 5, and it's very much playable. It is good, but you are gonna run into some Wi-Fi warriors. Like the best thing you can do is try to set it to 4 or 5 bar. I like every single character on the cast. I was like, I've had this game early for like the past few weeks, and like I was telling them, I was like, I don't think it would win Game of the Year, but I think it should get nominee for Game of the Year, for the simple fact that it is, even with modern controls, it's still hard to play for like at a high level. So it's gonna turn like some people off, and that for that reason, I don't think it'll ever win like a game of the year. But I think it should be nominated. Like it's that good with the amount of content that's in it, and the fact that it's crossplay. Did we bring up crossplay?
No, it's crossplay, yo.
Yeah, we was playing with all different types of people in lobbies. Yesterday, doesn't matter what you are on, everybody can play together, and they have a shit ton. Like we scrolled down, it was like hundreds and hundreds of lobbies that you can hop in, and so if one is crowded, you shouldn't have an issue finding any games. Did you get a chance to play any Street Fighter Ethos?
No, I did not.
What's your take on it watching, besides when you were trolling me, watching my Elite gameplay? What's your take on it? Just from the outside looking in.
It's very horny.
What does that mean?
There's a lot of horniness.
Some fan service?
I'm feeling a lot of fan service in the game. When you fight it, what's her name? What was the one that was pissing you off?
Oh,
She's got, like,
Milan?
Yeah, when I saw when she did that certain kick and stuff, when it was slow mo, I was like, there's very horny.
They definitely be doing it with
There's definitely some
Kimberly be bending over in the camera and shit.
Kimberly, Chung-Li, Jury. I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, okay.
There's definitely fan service. You can comment on
really
Chun-Li's thighs in the story. And, and she's like, it's a source of my pride. It's my discipline.
Oh, you should be proud.
Right. Freaking
That's some thunder thighs.
I'm having a lot of fun with it. I think it's here to stay. It got that $1 million prize pool, so Street Fighter players are not
the best fighting game this year, or do you think Mortal Kombat or Tekken might be better?
Well, Tekken players
gotta
are broke,
wait.
So I don't know.
It's not the game.
If you don't leave them alone, bro.
Leave them alone. I'm talking about strictly the game. Do you think Tekken 8 could still be better than this?
Yeah, it's possible. I love Tekken too.
What about the new Mortal Kombat?
I think Mortal Kombat has a better chance than Tekken. Like exactly. I just feel like Tekken's kind of like that third. It's always kind of been in third place in terms of like FGC popularity. I feel like Street Fighter's number one than the NetherRealm games. But I could be wrong. And even that third place is interchangeable, because like if something else comes along like Dragon Ball Fighters 2 or like a new Soul Calibur, it could overtake Tekken. So it's honestly like a week 3, and that makes sense for why a lot of Tekken players are broke. But anyways,
this guy, bro, he won't quit Ethos. He won't quit.
You think this game will be a combo breaker?
This guy, right? well, Combo Breaker is already passed. So
who won the Tekken tournament at Combo Breaker?
Oh, somebody who's not even from here, from Pakistan.
That's crazy.
Arlen Nash. Arlen Nash won. Yeah.
Shout out to him. How you feel about the actual story mode? I feel like we didn't even really like touch on that. So like for those unaware, there's a new open world story mode, and I think they put this in there to kind of usher in casuals, and you literally get to run around with your created character. It kind of reminds me of like Xenoverse, because you get into like, this is the first Street Fighter game where you actually get into street fighting, because literally like NPCs will run up on you and try to fight you, and you grind your character, you get XP, and then you can use those points to buy new abilities and get new masters. So like you could choose Chun-Li as your master, and you can learn her moves, and you can create your own kind of like what's the me shit, like your own little custom fighter.
You can
take them online and actually do that, and you can literally fight anybody in the world. How you feel about the story mode, Jay?
I think it's pretty cool. Somebody actually sent me an article. I think it was a Kotaku article, and they said that the World Tour mode was like a glorified Yakuza, and I just laughed. I was like, okay. I was like, I can see the aspects, but I think more of your example is more like a Xenoverse. I don't think it's like Yakuza at all, because I don't think the story is going to get that deep. I mean, I may be surprised as I continue going through the line, but it really is just leveling your character up, getting into street fights, getting new abilities, getting new gear. So I mean, if it has some sort of like deep, intricate story that nobody is aware of, then I would be surprised. But I don't think it's like that. But it's cool though. Like I think it's a breath of fresh air for someone who just doesn't want to get sweaty in ranked matches and doesn't want to go into the arcade and just go through that, just regular bare bones story mode. Like it's something different that they came up with. So I see myself playing it, when I just want to take a break away from, ranked matches or running sets with y'all.
Which is important, by the way, FGC sweats, making sure you have a casual audience, because if you implement features like this and are more welcoming, even with like the controls, more people are going to watch your tournaments, which is going to generate more money. Rising tides raise all ships. So it's a good thing. Like these people that are like gatekeeping and being elitist about these fighting games, you're just making, this is why the Tekken community is broke, because you guys don't have features like You don't have features like this. You need to have the casual audience there. It keeps the game alive. It keeps it float. And who knows, it might inspire, somebody might start off with the easier controls or the story mode, and it might inspire them to get into the classic. That's the goal, to convert people over. But if you don't have something to ease people in, if they just hop in on the game and it's like sweaty as fuck all the time, why would that grow the community? And I would hope that your goal is to grow the community, so we can increase the pot sizes for all games. Because like I said, rising tides raise all ships. Yeah, Street Fighter 6, good game.
Yeah, you done, man? Are you just gonna be on the Tekken hating wave just because of how the FGC community was?
I might. I don't know. Y'all be all right, Tekken community. Not really. I mean, y'all be all right if I get a job, but I don't know. Let's see. Let's talk about another game. Outlast Trials. This is the brand new game. It's the third one in the series. JG thought that there were like a million of them. I'm like, no, that's Five Nights at Freddy. The Outlast Trials is a survival horror game. And this one, what's different about this one is co-op. So you basically can hop into it with a friend, bunch of crazy, wacky people trying to kill you. You have to solve puzzles and escape and try to figure out what's going on in this crazy, kooky world. Fun fact, the person that put us onto this game, well, I had heard about it, but the one who really pushed us to play it was Ethos. He didn't get a chance to play it with us because he was busy, but me and JG got to play it. This is one of the best reviewed games on Steam right now. People who love survival horror are really fucking with this game. How about you, Jay? Are you fucking with the Outlast Trials after we played it together?
No, and I was originally ready to blame you because you were like, hey, let's play the game. So I thought that you were the one who suggested this. But now that you said the Ethos suggested this, now Ethos is on trial because he made us play this. And we both collectively...
You said we needed a co-op game.
Hours. Hey,
you said we needed a co-op game.
I'm happy you admitted it. I'm happy you admitted it because JG really thought I did this.
I never took blame away from saying that I didn't recommend it, but y'all said y'all needed a co-op game. I did some research and I was like, this game upcoming has a lot of interest and hype. I put it on the giveaway list and didn't get giveaway selected because I think that was when Jedi Survivor came out. But I saw the game come out, I watched a couple of reviews, and a lot of people gave it glowing praise. So I was like, all right, it must be good. I know it's just a game y'all don't like. Don't mean the game bad. Just mean y'all don't like. It's not y'all type of game.
Oh, I don't think it's bad. It's not for me.
Yeah, it's just not for y'all. I it is what it is. I didn't play it.
I would never trash a game.
Yeah,
but it wasn't.
I know I know there's some stealth elements in it, so I know that might be why you don't like it. But
well, no, it was just there's a difference between stealth and having to get away and like just not being able to defend yourself at all. And that's what Outlast is. Like, you get caught by somebody, you have to run. Like, there's really no way to fight. Like, you could throw a brick at some people if you have a brick or something, but like I just find it was the same rinse and repeat. Like, it's the same Outlast, you just have co-op elements now. And like, you had perks and stuff. I was like, why are we adding all of these nonsensical elements into this game? Like, it's really not for me because I was never an Outlast fan in the first place. Like, I think somebody bought Outlast, the original Outlast, for me way back when that game came out, and I barely played it. I think I played it for like an hour, and then I never played it again. I'm just not a horror game type of fan, and I thought that we were going to have a little bit more fun. I thought we were going to be able to defend ourselves a little bit more. I know that with the perks it makes it a little bit easier so that you can defend yourself, but it was really the same stuff. Like, I just was not into it at all, like even playing with somebody else.
Yeah, I'm not into it. It's not my type of game for the simple fact, like, just the mechanics are kind of boring to me. It's you just run around, you hide in a locker. This one now you can hide in a locker with a friend. Okay. What's the name? There's puzzles that you can solve with your friends to like get out of like situations, and I felt like the puzzles lasted way too long, and then there wasn't enough variety in them. It was like, go to one room, do this, then go to another room and do the same exact thing, and I'm just like, by the time we did it, I think like a third time in a row, I turned it off and refunded it. I'm like, yeah, I'm good off of this. Like, I was like, what part is supposed to be fun? And then on top of that, for me, the reason this game is not for me is because I play video games to indulge in a power fantasy. Like, I don't want to play a game where I have to play as a bitch ass helpless nigga, bro. So like, why the fuck would I do? Like, and then on top of that, it's not scary. All the jump scares are like super predictable. That's another reason I'm not into horror games like that. And like, it's hard for me, I feel like, to talk about this stuff because like, when you stream it, people in the chat swear like I'm trying to be cool, and I'm like, yo, this shit is legitimately not scary to me. Like, I don't understand what part is supposed to be scary. Like, nigga, you ever been pulled up by the police? Like, that's scary to me. So, like, running away from a half-naked nigga with a butter knife, I don't get what's like, oh, he's gonna get me. It's like getting chased by the greased-up deaf guy. You're never gonna get, oh, he might get you. Oh, there's some blood on the wall. Like, what is scary about this? I don't get it. I legitimately, I feel like I'm out of touch, and it's not for me. But does that mean it's a bad game? No. 100%. I can say that it is well produced. Like, graphically, it looks good. It ran well. Mechanically, it was sound. It's just the gameplay is not for me. But for people that like to, I don't know, get hogtied during sex or something like that like to feel helpless, you might like this game. You might like this game.
Motherfuckers in the BDSM.
Yeah, that was a joke, by the way. Don't take that seriously. Like, what?
Right.
Get mad about that shit, but it's just not for me, and I'm okay with that. So like right around the 1 hour 45 minute mark, I don't really like to play with the 2 hour mark on Steam, because for those of you unaware, if you don't have more than two hours on a game, you can refund it, no questions asked on Steam. Right around 1 hour 45 minute, I didn't really want to play with the clock, so I just went ahead and just turned the game off. Just got a refund. Didn't make a big hoopla. Didn't yell. I just said, it's not for me. You know, I was just more disappointed that Ethos is really trying to push us to play, and he didn't even show up.
I didn't. I was busy.
Maybe he could have gave a counter opinion to ours.
Nope. I believe y'all. Both of y'all said it's not fun, but I'll take your word for it. It's for not wasting my time.
It's fun to somebody because it's like at a 90-something% on Steam.
Yeah, it's a very positive game. That's why I'm very shocked that just ended up not being fun for you.
Yeah, like I said, it just ended up being the same thing. Like it was the same Outlast, but you had, I guess, more puzzles to do, and like I said, it just had co-op elements now. But it really wasn't a true difference, or at least from what I know and what I can tell from the original Outlast that I played.
And it is what it is. But if you like survival horror games, and you want something to play with your friends, this might be for you. It's just one of those things that's not for us. And that's okay. Having differing opinions is okay. What's not okay is needing that Tekken money, because just get a fucking job. What was I about to say? We're not talking about Diablo 4 on the show. At the time of this recording, the game came out yesterday, but the thing is, it came out in early access, so you had to buy the deluxe version. And Ethos and JG were adamant about not buying the deluxe version. So the base game doesn't release till next week. So on the next podcast, we'll talk about Diablo 4. I didn't get a chance to play it either. I have the deluxe, but I didn't expect to be playing so much Street Fighter. So we've been heavy on it. We're going to move on to the news section of the show. So next show, we'll talk Diablo 4. Moving on to the news side of things. Since the last podcast, we had the big PlayStation showcase. This was supposed to be one where they revealed a lot of different things, and they did. Most of it was multiplats, but they did reveal stuff. So some of the reveals include a remake of Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, the third one, Marathon, which is a first-person shooter by Bungie. It's their first-person shooter they ever made. I guess this is like a reboot or something like that. Some Destiny DLC, more Street Fighter. We got Project Q, Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Mirage. But the big thing was Spider-Man 2 that they showed off. Was there anything in this showcase that impressed you? How would you rate it, Ethos?
Missed it. Busy.
Oh,
so I watched some of it post, all like little clips here and there. I thought Spider-Man looked cool. People complaining about water or something again, so some stupid thing.
We had Puddlegate again?
Yeah, we had a Puddlegate about like them swimming didn't look real with the water physics, or I don't know, some stupid.
I missed that one.
They were also complaining about the city of New York looking the same.
Why would it look different?
Because apparently every gamer now is like very hypercritical about things, and it's funny because this is a recurring theme with mainly Sony fans, because we talked about Horizon having the same animations, right? And God of War having the same animations, but now we're shifting to Spider-Man 2 because he's in the same world. And somebody also even brought up some fake news, and they were showing a like low-res image of Spider-Man 2, and they were like, well, look at this graphical leap. It wasn't really a graphical leap. I'm like, this is getting ridiculous now. Like, I don't know who put sticks up y'all asses, but like, why are we complaining about like little things? Like, are you going to enjoy the game or not? You know you're going to pick it up, so why are you complaining about like these small small, minute details and things that you don't know or don't understand about game development. Like Ethos has had this conversation before when we talked about Horizon. Like, this is just dumb at this point. Like, you guys are trolling for clicks, because I can't seriously believe that you all are complaining about stuff like this.
Yeah, you said Sony fans think they're game developers?
They always
apparently.
That's crazy. I saw a lot of people saying that the showcase was ass. I disagree. I thought it was okay. Like, I give it like a C+. Like, I thought Spider-Man 2 looked cool. I never played the original Alan Wake, but Alan Wake, what they showed for the second one, like the destruction and the lighting, like the atmosphere of it, I thought it looked real cool. What was that samurai game? Phantom Blade, I think it was called.
Phantom Blade. That was my favorite game that they showed.
It looked really good, too. I'm trying to think what else. Marathon, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt, and it's Bungie. I'm not gonna get super excited about it, but it's like I'm gonna keep my eye on it because, I mean, they tend to make decent games. I mean, they're known for shooters. I wasn't blown away, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool that you could switch between Miles and Peter at any time, and then we got to look at the symbiote. The pacing, the action in the story. I thought the visuals looked next gen with the lighting and the textures and shit like that, especially with how fast the game was actually moving. With everything going on in the screen, I thought it looked next gen. It looked good to me. I was like, damn, Kraven the Hunter. And then on top of that, they didn't do a lot of talking. They just showed games. I thought they showed a lot of variety of games. Now, whether or not they're for you, I don't know, but they're for somebody. So like, I give it like a C+. It was all right.
Alan Wake 2 as well.
You said what?
Alan Wake.
What about Alan Wake 2?
I'm excited for it.
Oh, yeah. Sit up on your mic. You're kind of cutting out a little bit.
Sorry, I was talking very low. I was going to say Alan Wake 2 is I'm really excited for.
Yeah, wait. Well, I never played the original Alan Wake. What made the game so special?
Play it. I think you like it. It's not a scary game. It's a thriller. It's
I'm not pussy anyway.
Horror game. It's not a horror game, but it's not like a game where it's like, well, I don't know. You didn't like Control.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Control.
You might. I'd say give it a shot.
To be fair, though, one of the issues, maybe if I go back and play it now, one of the reasons I didn't like Control is because when it came out, that game was buggy, and I ran into multiple game-breaking glitches, and I turned it off because of that.
Yeah, you might like Alan Wake. I know JG would like Alan Wake. I think JG should definitely like it. But it's kind of like a survival game, but it's more of a thriller. I'd say it's less like scary in your face. It does have some moments where it's like a little bit like fast paced where you're just like, oh god, oh god, oh god, but like it's not really trying to like jump scare you or anything like that, or like torture you. It's more of it's a story of a guy named Alan Wake who's a writer, and his wife ends up disappearing while he's like off at a lake house trying to write out his book. He's like has a writer block. And then basically the people of the town turn into these like shadow entities and they start attacking him, and like the town starts, it's kind of like Silent Hill where it's like, how there's like the regular town and there's the upside down version of it, kind of like that. And you have to fight them off with like a flashlight. So you use the flashlight to like break their shadows, and then you shoot them with guns and stuff. It was pretty cool. It was a game that came out around the time Mass Effect 1 came out. So it's an older game, but I think they remastered it recently. But I give it a shot. Yeah. I'm not going to say you like it. I don't know if you'd like it, TBH, because again, you didn't like Control. But if you are interested in 2, I would give it a shot. I
feel like if I'm going to play that, I'd rather wait till like right around the time Alan Wake 2 is going to come out. Yeah, like so it's like fresh in my mind to play.
You have Alan Wake 1, and then you have I'd start playing it now because you have Alan Wake 1, and then you have there's a DLC called Nightmare or something that takes place after the events of the first one. It's like a really short DLC, but you need that because it connects between 1 and 2. And then actually you have to play Control, because Control basically, which was a cool Easter egg, they basically confirmed that Control takes place in the same universe as Alan Wake. And there's actually references to Alan Wake inside of Control that are going to apparently play a role in Alan Wake 2. And then I could be wrong. I have to check the trailer again, but I think there's a new character. I think it's like a black woman, I think, that's in the game now. And I think she has a tie to the...
Does this take place in the same world as Quantum Break?
That we do not know. I don't think so, because I don't think I've seen or read anything that said it was like Quantum Break, but I know it is like 100% confirmed, because one of the Control DLCs, like there's actually like Alan Wake, his whatever was going on with his world, like it's actually like noted as like an oddity within the world of Control, which is what they try to solve. So it's definitely 100% confirmed. Those 2 games are connected to each other. But I think the other one is a little bit more, I don't know yet.
Yeah. what's the name? Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. One of the big things that was an announcement out of the PlayStation Showcase is the rumors were actually true that not Nintendo, but Sony is working on their handheld peripheral. Right now, it's called Project Q, which is a working title. It's not going to be the final name. And the unfortunate reality about Project Q, at least in my opinion, is the rumors that we've been hearing are true. This is not a successor to the PS Vita or the PSP. This is not a handheld, but instead, it's not even a streaming device. It's a mirroring device. So what this thing can do is if you have a PS5 and you don't want to play on TV, or you can't, let's say like you only have, and this is the only like use case I could think of this would be useful for. You have a PS5 and like, let's say like, I don't know, the wife and kids want to watch a Disney movie and you want to play God of War, you can stream your PS5 to the Project Q. But the thing is, like, it's all based off the PS5. There's no streaming from the freaking cloud. And then rumors are coming out that people have got their hands on this and the battery only lasts 3 hours on this. Would y'all buy a Project Q, and how much would you pay for it?
Hell no.
Absolutely
that
not.
is under $100. Nope.
I said the only way this can succeed is if, yeah, it's like $80. But then I went and I was like, how much does a PS5 controller cost? PS5 controller costs $70, dog. And this thing has a PS5 controller with a screen in the middle. So I was like, I think this is going to be like 200 plus. If it is, it's DOA.
No. You can't even use it outside your house, right? Like,
no,
you have to.
It's literally just mirrors the PS5. Completely.
So if I was connected to another Wi-Fi somewhere, let's say like I'm at your house, right? And I connect to your Wi-Fi. Is there a way that I can connect to my PS5 from like across the United States or no?
That I don't know. I don't know what the range is on that. Do you think that would be worth it if you could?
No, because I can do that on Steam Deck.
I was like, you can do that from your phone too, by the way. Keep in mind, you can do this all from your phone. And
you do it with all their remote play things.
Yeah, it's a remote play. Yeah. But it's strictly for the PS5. So I'm like, yeah. So, if you want that, it's coming. It's coming. That's something to look out for. But yeah, that was the Sony showcase.
Wait, man, we're not gonna talk about Foam Stars, bro. That was a game that sold the show.
Nigga, shut up. What's the name?
I'm serious, man. You're not
hold on. Matter of fact, since you want to be funny, I'm gonna go ahead and bring up the trailer, Foam Stars on YouTube. Go ahead, JG. Tell the people about Foam Stars.
I saw some people. They said that they enjoyed it. No, in all seriousness, I have no clue why this game is coming out. It literally is Splatoon, but instead of using paint, you're using foam. You're using different color foam. And I was like, all right, this is what the streets truly needed. This is what the streets truly needed was another Splatoon, like game, but it's not on Nintendo. Now you can play it on PlayStation. So there you go. For all the Splatoon fans that did not have a Nintendo Switch, now you can play something like it. But now you're using foam.
How are you a Splatoon fan if you don't got a Switch?
I was saying, I mean, maybe some people wanted to play it, but they don't have a Switch. Is what I was saying.
Is it fun? I've never played Splatoon.
I never really found it fun.
I've never wanted to be a squid kid.
I'm excited for Dragon's Dogma. I was a huge fan.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was another good one. Dragon's Dogma.
I never played Dragon's Dogma,
right.
but that game looked good.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm like going to quick because of some of the stuff I've missed. That Fair game looks cool too. The heist game. That looks cool.
I was kind of mad on that when I saw the trailer, but I mean it has potential.
Yeah, I'm good off that.
And
Wood.
Ghost Runner 2.
Ghost Runner 2, yeah. See,
the first one, but yeah.
See, there were games, and I'm like, did we watch? Like, I honestly feel like it's getting to the point where like motherfuckers really just be saying shit for impressions. Like that was not the worst thing I ever saw. I counted 7 games I was interested in that showcase.
Oh wow!
Now, if you want to make the argument there's a lack of exclusives, that's fair. But if we're just strictly talking about games, I was like, I saw games to play. I was like, I don't know. Foam Stars wasn't one of them, but
I mean, Assassin's Creed got announced during the showcase.
Yeah, and it looks like they're really putting that emphasis on stealth. It looks like the rumors are true, so it's looking pretty fun. We definitely want to see that JG playthrough.
No boy.
Aren't you excited for the Metal Gear?
Yes.
I never played Metal Gear like that.
I thought JG wasn't JG a Metal Gear. I thought you were a fan.
Absolutely, yeah. No, Snake Eater was by far my favorites. Yeah, I was excited about that.
Let me ask you.
I just wanted to make sure that it was a remake, and they said that yes. I want it to be like a true remake, not a remaster. So
I don't know if you saw. There's an article before you go. There was an article that came out. And I want to see if this bothers you because you're a fan. This remake will not. Yeah, okay. The remake doesn't include new audio. Apparently, it's the original audio. Does that bother you?
Oh no, I was gonna bring something else up.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Well, into that, guys, I was gonna bring up. So you know how a lot of people were like, "Fuck Konami," you know, for doing dirty to Kojima. So I feel like there's definitely going to be a boycott involved with this game because obviously, like, what if they hoe Kojima? They don't put his name on it or anything like that. Or obviously, Kojima's not involved with this all. Is it still fuck Konami? You guys are not going to support this shit because the way they hoe Kojima, or y'all just is the community just over it? Like, it was just like a one-time, like, just upset shit. Now people don't care because they got a remake 3.
I mean, I have no dog in that race. Like, I'm not a Kojima stan. So I mean, it is messed up what they did. Have you never heard of that saying, sir? I swear this guy's so uncultured. He's so uncultured.
I've heard I don't have a horse in this race. A dog? What?
I have no horse in this race, a dog in this race, so you can use both of them interchangeable because you race dogs and horses.
All right, I have no Appa in this race. How about that? Yep.
This guy. Anyways, back to you, Ethos. I'm talking to you, Ethos.
Why am I here?
Yeah, I did see the tweets that there was a lot of people that were upset about the Kojima thing, but like I said, I don't have any stock in.
What do you think? Do you think they're gonna try some shit like with like? Do you think they're gonna try some shit like with like how like people were like upset about Hogwarts? Like, do you think they were gonna be like, we gotta boycott this, and if you buy this game, you're hurting devs and shit? Like, you're you know, like, do you think that type of thing is gonna happen, or do you think people are just gonna be like, oh, it was so long ago, I don't care, he has Death Stranding now?
Like I said, that this was gonna be interesting because I don't know if Kojima has a strong fan base. Like, I don't know how big his fan base and his reach spans. So
wouldn't you say this whole game is just for his fan base? Like, do you really think people who don't care about Metal Gear are even going to play this because they haven't played any of the other Metal Gears?
Nah, I don't think that a newcomer's ever played Metal Gear before would get into it. Yeah, so I mean, it would be strictly for like the Metal Gear fans, which would, I guess, essentially span to Kojima fans because it's his baby. So, I mean, maybe. I mean, I think some people would try it. I think they'll try to rile some people up, but I think overall it's not going to do anything. Like, it's rare that a boycott actually works. Like, we've seen this already. literally just mention Hogwarts. Like, it just doesn't work.
People
like,
don't care.
You can start something up, but it ultimately doesn't work. Like, you're going to buy what you're going to buy, and you're going to like what you're going to like, regardless of what people say about it. Like, regardless of how they feel, you're just going to make your own decision. So, I mean, it's possible that they'll try. I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be another Hogwarts situation whenever this comes out. I think people are just going to play it regardless. But again, it's just going to be that minority that will say, hey, like, if you don't put Kojima's name on it, or if Kojima had nothing to do with it, then I'm not going to play it, or I'm not going to support it.
What's the name? I never played Metal Gear like that. So like, and from my understanding, Snake Eater's like the best one, right? Like, to a lot of people, yeah, they regard it as Snake Eater's the best. Yeah, so I was like, they making a remake. This might be a good place to jump in, depending on how I would wait to see the reviews. Like, is it a good remake? Because keep in mind, just because it's a remake, don't mean it's going to be good. They could fuck it up. It could be a bunch of glitches and bugs. It could look ugly. There's already reports that they're reusing old audio.
It doesn't look ugly. I can tell you that much right now.
True.
The trailer did look amazing. But yeah, it could be like Dead Space because everybody was like about that. Yeah, that was end up being.
Not
Dead Space. It could be the
Calypso Protocol.
Yeah, Calypso Protocol. Yeah, you're trying to make their own stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Yeah. I think Kojima will be okay. I don't like if there is a boycott. I think Kojima will be okay. Like,
okay, what if let's say Kojima speaks up. I feel like he's more reserved. I don't feel like Kojima would like active. I don't think I'd be shocked if I wake up one day and he tweets and says, I don't support. I'm not part of this Metal Gear Solid game and I don't support it or whatever it is. Like, if he like publicly said it. But let's say, for the sake of argument, devil's advocate, let's say he does do that one day where he's like, let's say Konami says, we're not going to put his name in the credits, even though he was like one of the original creators of it, like people of it. Like, we're not going to give credit to the OGs who built this game. We're just going to show only the people that worked on the remake. That's it. Do you think, like, and then Kojima knows that, and he's just like, they already screwed me, and I don't appreciate them using my IP like this, not giving me credit towards it. Like, if he did something like that, do you think that would be enough to ignite, the fan base to be like, okay, yeah, because Kojima publicly is disavowing the game, now we're not going to play it? Do you think that would help or not?
Can we play like an alleged copy?
Well, yeah, everyone can play a alleged copy.
Like, as long as we're not giving them
Hogwarts. Bring all legend copies of Hogwarts were there.
I think that it would be enough to make some noise, but like ultimately, I think people's fandom for the product is gonna override the actual creator. Because like what we're talking about right now, I think is significantly less impactful than the conversation about Hogwarts and everything surrounding J.K. Rowling. Like that's a real life world. We're talking about somebody not being credited for a game, which sucks, but it's not as heavy as that conversation with Hogwarts. So I was like, I think ultimately they'll be fine as long as the game is good. Now, if the game comes out and it reviews poorly, everybody's gonna shit on it and they're gonna dunk it. Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed. You know, the funny thing, Ato, since you mentioned that Kojima, you know, is generally so reserved. If anybody brought it up before him, like if for some reason he did not bring it up, I bet you would bring it up.
What if Jeff Keighley does it? Because I feel like Jeff Keighley would be the person to do this. Yeah.
He would say some shit. He would say some shit before.
He would say some shit. He would totally say some shit. Like if this game got even like a nomination, I'm pretty sure he would say something. Or he would probably never make sure he would ever be anywhere near the game. I feel like.
Does it need to be nominated though? That's the thing. Like that pettiness, does that type of game need to be nominated? It has legacy.
I mean, yeah. Like if it's good, like you don't think Dead Space is going to get nominated for stuff? I think it is. Like
Final Fantasy 7.
Final Fantasy 7 got nominated. Yeah, I feel like it's going to get nominated.
Resident Evil got nominated.
Resident Evil 2 got nominated during the Game Awards. Yeah.
Ultimately, I think
if it's good, it will be.
Ultimately, I think Kojima will be fine as long as. Like if they do this and like the sales,
I don't think he cares. I think he's far past it.
I was gonna say as long as Jeff Keighley,
Death Stranding.
As long as Jeff Keighley gives him a little kiss, a little hug, he'll be okay. He'll be okay.
Yeah. He's happy. I'm pretty sure he's more than happy with Death Stranding.
As long as Boo give him a kiss, he'll be alright. What's the name? That'll be an interesting conversation. I actually did not even think about that. I will say when I was streaming it and like. That was one of the games that got like a big response while I was streaming it. Oh, a remake of Snake Eater? My gut tells me based off of that response in the chat, most people aren't going to give a fuck about the whole crediting thing. Because that's all they was focused on was the actual game. We're going to see. Other PlayStation news. This one's pretty interesting. This one might break your heart, Ethos. Reports are coming out that the Last of Us multiplayer spin-off Factions, which is based off the original Last of Us release multiplayer mode called Factions, it's in grave danger and it's on the brink of possibly even being canceled. And funny enough, the funny thing about this article is if you read it, the reason why they're starting to doubt it is apparently I guess they brought in some consultants from Bungie and Bungie was like, nah, nigga.
That's crazy.
So now Naughty Dog is doubting themselves and apparently the staffing on this game has been reduced by like 70%. And they've been moved to other projects, and it's a very small team just working on this game. They've been kind of silent on it, so a lot of people are saying that it's not canceled, but it is being reevaluated. It's not looking good. I know you were a big fan of the Factions. How you feeling about that, Ethos?
I'm upset. Can't get Titanfall, and now I can't. I can't get Titanfall, and now I'm not gonna get Last. But every multiplayer game I want a sequel to, I'm just not getting. So I don't know what to say. It's another disappointing game. This must be how the Celtics felt. Like they just keep letting me down. So
yeah, a lot of people were disappointed too because during that PlayStation showcase, people were expecting to see that. Yeah. I don't know why people were expecting
we were going to see it. No, because they said it.
No, I was going to say I don't know why people were going to expect to see Wolverine, but I was expecting to see Factions.
When they brought out, I forgot what it was. It was about whatever the last PlayStation thing was. Right? Remember when Druckmann came out and he was talking about the TV show and he showed there was the two voice actors that were Joe and Ellie. They came out. They were like, we're really excited for this thing. This is before the game came out. He brought up and he said, and we are hard at work on Factions. Like he basically confirmed it right there. He was like, we are working on this thing and we're going to show you very soon what we've been working on. And then just to hear this news, it's like, well, damn, like, were you capping before or did you guys have something good? And then Bungie came in and was like, this ain't good. I find it hard to believe that it couldn't be good. I always felt the original Factions game was good. Like what? How could you mess it up if you just copied the same game and you just added like Last of Us 2's advanced extra animations and graphical fidelity? You didn't have to add anything new. You could have just copied the first game's multiplayer and just just put it in the second game. I'd have been more than happy with that. And with all the guns, just add some extra guns to it. I feel like they were going to turn it. The moment they said they were going to separate it from the game and make it its own entity, I think that's what screwed them. Because then they're like, okay, I heard there was rumors it was going to be some free-to-play multiplayer game because that's what Sony needs more of these live service games. They were going to turn into a live service. And I think Bungie went to them and was like, yeah, nah, dog, this won't work as a live service, or there's not enough here to make it live long enough to be a live.
No, I disagree with that. I think what fucked it up was when they announced that it was going to be its own standalone multiplayer game and it was going to have its own dynamic and compelling story. I think that's what they were probably trying to figure out how to, because at launch they could have a compelling story for the multiplayer, right? But then how do you keep that going? And maybe they couldn't wrap their brain around that, especially considering
Bungie's done it for goddamn years. Like, what do you mean? Bungie's done the same shit. They've done it since 2016. That's all Destiny 2 has been. It's just a compelling, constantly evolving.
You think Destiny 2 is compelling?
I think, consider millions of people keep fucking playing that shit. And
I think they're playing it for the game, though.
No, because if you saw the motherfuckers when they revealed the latest Destiny shit, they were excited, and that was all purely story. That was like when Witch Queen got announced, they were excited as fuck because of the main villain. This one, Cade 6 is back, so people were excited about it. And these are all story elements. It's not just gameplay stuff. They care about the.
But they're not Bungie. They haven't done that. And let's keep it a buck here. What Bungie's done with Destiny is very unique. It's not very many games that have that long tail live service game. What else is there besides GTA and Destiny that have had a long-term live service?
Nothing. It's literally Bungie's been the only one that's done. And really,
so that's why they were doubting themselves.
Has GTA really done anything? Really, like all they done is just push a bunch of microtransactions. Have they really done a lot? Like no. Like Bungie's
fair enough. Yeah. It's been more community that's kept GTA alive. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like I've had easy periods of me hating on Destiny throughout its life cycle, and I to this day don't think it's as good as the game could be. I never think the game has reached its full. I don't think it ever will reach its potential.
Remember when we thought it was gonna be like Mass Effect?
Yeah, and it ended up being like,
oh man,
yeah, that was fucking.
That was back when we were young and hopeful.
Yeah, we were young in 2014. The world everything was possible. But but to give them credit, no game since then, Anthem, failed. Every live service that any other studio has tried to do to replicate Destiny has failed. They've never been able to do the same thing. I just think Bungie got lucky. I think they just caught lightning in a bottle a second time, just like they did with Halo. And they're like, oh, fuck. And now they're just stuck with this thing, and they have to figure out how to make it work. And I think other studios can't do it.
I think what Naughty Dog might have done, though, is they've kind of shot themselves in the foot because they're approaching it maybe from a standpoint of they want it to be like the single-player experience, where it's this super well-thought-out story. And, like, if they wanted to put story in the multiplayer, it just had to be lighthearted. What needed to work was the multiplayer being fun, and it could have been a free-to-play game. I personally I don't care about the fucking story in it. I just wanted it to be a good multiplayer game. We need more multiplayer games.
I just wanted it to be a fun, I wouldn't even mind being a little bit more competitive. I felt
more content, more game modes.
Yeah, it would have just been perfectly fine to have just a multiplayer game like how Uncharted 4 felt for us when we played the multiplayer. Like I would have been fine with it.
Every once in a while they want to do like a story event with like some co-op like they do with Apex. Yeah. That could have worked.
Yeah. Honestly, nobody wanted anything intricate with this. Like, I honestly, I wasn't even expecting the story element to the multiplayer. Like, you could have just tacked it on, and I think everybody would have been fine. I want to Ethos to call somebody Nurse Joy again. That's all I wanted to see.
Somebody I'd rather take a time.
Yeah, so and it's, I mean, it is even more crazy though, because like look at the success of the TV show. Like we had our initial doubts about it, but the Last of Us TV show was freaking amazing, right? Like overall, everybody loved it. So I don't think at this point it's not a money thing. I don't think it's a financial thing. So something must have happened crazy internally that caused this ripple, and 70% of the staff that was working on this got put on other projects. Like, dang, did Bungie really have, like, if that's true, and Bungie did come in and was like, nah, that ain't it, like, I don't know what type of product that they had on their hands. So this is, I mean, it is kind of crazy that, this game might not even come out. So
there's some food for thought. I feel like if this story is true and they really brought some Bungie people in to kind of examine what they were working on, their intentions were pure from Naughty Dog standpoint because they're looking for guidance. But I guess the way my brain works, like the art of war, why would I bring my competitor in? Because if I was Bungie, I'd be like, nah, that shit trash. Like, what? Because
they're
then
not
you're
competitors, but they're not competitors anymore. Bungie's owned by Sony. They're not competitors.
Oh, yeah.
That's why they brought Bungie in, because they own.
So it was an honest assessment. They said no.
Yeah, it was honest. It was
like they could have just lied and be like, that shit trash to eliminate the competition.
No.
That's fucking.
I thought about that
bro.
for a second too, and I was like, oh yeah. I was like, no, they're under Sony's umbrella.
That's why Sony overbought them. Sony was like, Sony knows that they're behind in the multiplayer like live service space. Like the biggest games right now are those multiplayer live service games. They make billions of dollars, $1 million in microtransaction stuff. And Sony doesn't have, think about it, like, what does Sony have? What exclusive in their realm do they have that is a live service game? None. That's why they grabbed Bungie. They were just like, we need something, and we need people that have a track record so that they can help our studios build their own versions of Destiny or of live services. That's why all the extra money on them.
I feel like Naughty Dog is just talented enough. They're so talented in terms of
Isn't Marathon not exclusive?
I don't think
Marathon.
it's
I don't think it's
exclusive.
yeah. So Marathon. Yeah, I think Marathon's gonna be on Xbox too. So
I feel like Naughty Dog is such a talented studio. I just want to see them do something else. Like, get off the Last of Us dick and fucking Uncharted. Like, make something different, man. Like, Factions is cool.
Naughty Dog.
Yeah, like I want to see them do something like I can't stress enough how much like I respect Respawn went from making Call of Duty to Jedi Survivor, nigga. Like, what? Like, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, like I feel like they have the pedigree and they have the funding to where it's like, let's break out the box, let's try something different. And if you don't want to try something different, we're gonna keep advocating for Jak and Dexter 4.
That's what I'm gonna say. I'm like, you know what you agree? I'll take Jak and Dexter 4.
We'll take that too.
We'll take that. We'll do it.
Speaking of more Sony news, there's some rumors going around. I don't even know where this came. I swear to God, motherfuckers just be tweeting shit. I don't know what's the source on this, but this is a gaming podcast. We're going to talk about it. Rumors claim PlayStation is trying to acquire Capcom, CD Projekt Red, and From Software. This will be allegedly announced at the Sony for RealZ showcase in July. So there's another Sony showcase.
Not the one that was this one.
So this person is claiming, what's his name? The Old Guy Gamer, don't quote us. The Old Guy Gamer claims that the showcase we just had is not the real showcase. The real one's coming in July. And they also have 6-year deals to have all games from Sega, Konami, and EA exclusive to the PS5. I think this is complete bullshit. What y'all think?
Bullshit. Yeah, definitely do. Once I saw CD Projekt Red, I was like, hell no. Capcom makes sense though, because if you all weren't in the know, Sony saved Street Fighter when it was about to really go downhill, and now it's still not officially under their umbrella, but for the fighting game community, that's why Street Fighter.
Capcom's the only one I believe it could be true, and that's because Capcom is fucking broke, like you just said. But like CD Projekt Red and From Software, nigga, they up. Like, maybe Sega too. I don't believe
From Software makes a little bit more sense, but CD Projekt Red absolutely not.
Sony don't got money like Microsoft, so it's like, you're gonna buy all of these? I would be shocked. I would be impressed. Actually,
their whole strategy, they said, was for them to get studios to do multiplayer, like live service stuff, like have track records of doing that. I know somebody brought up this, that CD Projekt was starting to move towards that direction. Like I think they have like I heard rumors that they're working on a Witcher multiplayer co-op Monster Hunter type game where it's like you're all playing as Witchers and you're hunting down these monsters together. That sounds cool to me. And they're working on some Cyberpunk, maybe Cyberpunk 2 potentially might have some sort of like multiplayer component where they failed on the first game. But I just like CD Projekt's pedigree has been like single player, has been like kind of what like they already are masters of. Like they already do all the single player stuff really good, like story based stuff. So I don't know. CD Projekt doesn't make sense. Plus, I don't think CD Projekt is really like in desperate need of money, especially after Cyberpunk. I think like regardless of what happened with Cyberpunk, like they made a shitload of money back. So I don't think that's really
I think the CD Projekt Red one's not believable for me either too, because doesn't the Polish government own that studio? How does that work?
They have, I think, a chunk of it, or they have like some sort of like stock or ownership of that.
Yeah, so like how does that work in terms of Sony?
Governments help fund their projects and stuff too. So
wait, so if Sony does find a way to buy them out, does that mean Sony owns the Polish government? Like, how does that work?
No, I didn't know.
Tinfoil time.
And the PC costs $9,000.
Yeah, just to stream 2K. Oh shit. So definitely look out for a potential another PlayStation showcase. Take that with a grain of salt, because I've never heard of it.
Wasn't there also a rumor that Square Enix was going to get bought by Sony too? Didn't they say the same shit too like a year ago?
Take it with a grain of salt. That was something that showed up on my For You page. I was like, oh, that shit's and giggles. Let's throw it on.
You listen to Twitter? You got this note from Twitter?
Yeah, it's from Twitter.
For you?
First of all, I didn't say I listened. I said it's for shits and giggles, so we can talk about it. I don't believe it though.
All right, completely discredited. your source is Twitter for you.
Yeah, whatever, bro. When's Samurai Zero coming out? What's the name? Last piece of Sony news: a new God of War game is potentially in the works, but it's not what you think. According to this article, Come On Games, which is a company out of Singapore known for creating board games, has registered the IP for God of War. So many think there's a God of War board game in the works. What's that doing for you, Jay?
Nothing for me. That'd be more ethos around.
Huh?
Yeah, don't you hang out at magic card shops and shit, nigga?
What I gotta do with a board game?
I mean, it's almost those, like it. Yeah.
I play card games, not board games.
Dancing around.
So like,
no, I don't care about this.
Boy. You don't want to grab the piece and it says boy.
No.
Yeah.
They made a new Star Wars one. If you care about that, they made a Star Wars board game. Bob.
Only board game I play is Trouble. You know about Trouble?
I thought you were gonna say Twister.
Does that count as a board game?
I mean,
it's not a board game.
There's a board. You are the piece, but
no, it's more of a. It's like a little latex
piece.
mat or whatever.
But it's a board.
You ever played Naked Twister before? With a bitch?
I play with monkey bars.
Hey yo, if you want to spice up your date night, play Naked Twister with your girl. Thank me later. What's your name? Let's talk about a dead game. Blizzard's Overwatch 2. Can we even call it Overwatch 2 now?
No, it's fucking Overwatch.
All right, so let me give you a laydown in case you guys missed the story on this one. So Blizzard came out recently and announced that they're pretty much scrapping the majority of the PvE aspect of Overwatch 2, which is the only thing, by the way, that made Overwatch 2, because before that, it was just the Overwatch 1 multiplayer, but now it's not 6v6, it's 5v5. So they're removing most of the story mode. I remember there's supposed to be like 100 missions or something like that. They're gonna still do it, but they're gonna do it starting like next season, and it's only gonna be like one mission. It's been severely scaled back. It's not really a thing. It sounds like they're copying Apex is what it sounds like, where occasionally they'll drop like a little cutscene with like some lore or whatever, but yeah, I know you were a big fan of Overwatch. I remember the first time you played Overwatch, you came in, were we even in Discord at that time? We might have still been in TeamSpeak or like Mumble, and you were like, yo, Overwatch 2016 is gonna be the game of the year. Like, how do you feel about the fall from grace ethos to see that Overwatch 2 will not feature any Overwatch 2?
Yeah, hate to see. I'm telling you, this is all Bridget's fault. I don't know why, I don't know how, but after she was added to the game, everything just went downhill. Everything was broken. The whole game just started to be stale. So many things got fucked up because of her, and then they tried to make a sequel to fix the problems of the first game, and now look, it's falling apart. Yeah, there's no argument now. There's no debate. There's no potential way that you can turn this or try to damage control this. At the end of the day, this game is not Overwatch 2. It doesn't deserve the second title. There's not enough here for anyone to even justify it. The one content, the one feature that people were arguing, saying this is what makes it deserving its own sequel title, was supposedly going to be that co-op campaign type of experience. And now that that's been ripped out of the game, after they already had been working on it, we've already seen footage of it and how it was supposed to play. That's all gone now. And then like, how are you going to compensate everybody, right? Because like, it's a free-to-play game now, which is okay. But I'd argue the game is worse now. Like, I'd rather it go back to how it used to be, where it was $40 to play the game, and you could get all the skins by just opening damn loot boxes or just by getting enough coins and just getting that way. This new shit is terrible. It's literally Overwatch 1, but they added a store and a battle pass. That's literally the only differences between 1 and 2. And they cut one person that can play in the match. They made it now 5-5.
I've been saying that, and I got hate. It's Overwatch 1, but they added a new business model that makes the game worse.
Arguably, and I can't believe I'm saying this, when it had loot boxes, it was better. Everyone's gonna agree with me.
I'd argue the Overwatch community is one of the most spineless in the community. Like, you guys are getting fucked in the ass, and like, you don't even realize it, bro.
Yikes. Blizzard is lucky that they're not just banking off Overwatch. Imagine if this was like their only main IP. Like, this would be a shit show. So they're lucky they have other IPs.
Where does the series go after this? Like, do you think we'll ever see an Overwatch 3? Like I feel like there's like a weird energy around this franchise now.
I don't even know, because I mean, really the only thing that's keeping Overwatch alive is just the professionals, right? And even that league is kind of going downhill, right?
I've heard they've been having issues with the esports side of shit. The OWL is it's kind of it's turning dead upon itself as well. Yeah. So I mean, like I said, but it's at this point it's going to be hanging by a thread. Yep.
Yeah.
So they may need to cut their losses at this point if this doesn't work. Like, if they can't produce anything that makes Overwatch 2 truly Overwatch 2 with this PvE aspect, then cut your losses, try something else. I mean, I know that they don't want to see it die, but I mean, even if the esports scene dies too, then you're done.
Especially they saying the numbers Diablo doing, they probably looking at Overwatch like, I don't know, man.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm like, cut your losses, because I mean, you got other IPs that are thriving right now, so.
Who knows, man? Maybe they got some whales on their servers that's buying loot crates out the ass. I don't know. I refuse to get on that game. I knew I was never going to play that game when the beta came out and it said Overwatch.exe. I said, you guys could at least change the launcher name. Like, this is the same fucking game, dude. It is what it is. Let's stay on the topic of dead games. Let's talk about Redfall. So Redfall, we've seen what happened with that release, but a big article came out of Bloomberg, and I found a quick summary of it, basically kind of documenting the downfall of what really happened with it. And here's the three major bullet points from it. So from this article, they were saying the morale at Arcane suffered because veteran workers who weren't interested in developing a multiplayer game. They left in droves. Supposedly like 80% of the studio left during the development. By the end of Redfall's development, 70. Roughly 70% of Austin's staff had worked on Prey, would no longer be at the company, according to the people familiar with Bloomberg's analysis. So the majority of the studio left during the development of the game. That's why it's so bare bones. The acquisition gave some staff at Arcane hope that Microsoft might cancel Redfall, or better yet, let them reboot it into a single-player game, according to sources familiar with the production. So, for those not following, Arcane was hoping that Microsoft would step in and be
wait, hold on.
And take it in the back and shoot it like old Yeller. Please kill us. That's the craziest thing about this headline.
That's insane.
And then see, the disappointment of Redfall evidences Microsoft's desperate need for attractive content if it indeed is going to beat rivals on Sony. Basically saying they're desperate. They're just throwing anything on the fucking Game Pass. But that's the main takeaway, that Arcane was not happy with what they were making. There was a lot of lack of leadership. I read the whole article. They were saying people were coming in. Some people wanted to make a multiplayer. Some people wanted to make a single player game, and they kind of lost the room. So it got to a point where some people were like, can we just kill the game? But they just put it out, and Phil Spencer put 36 minutes on it before he uninstalled it. What's your take on this game developer ethos?
Yeah, I mean, all this tracks, and it makes sense. This explains like how we were talking about, like, how did you guys do like Deathloop and whatever it is. And I checked just to make sure. I think Deathloop and I think Dishonored, they were done by the French Arcane studio, the one that's in Lyon, I think it is, France. They're the ones that did that, and I think Prey was Austin helped out with Prey. So they have like, I think 3 studios maybe, and the main one I think is in the other one's in Austin. So I mean, yeah, all this tracks. I think it's hilarious. As the Pope of the and Bishop of the Game Pass, I'm happy to say that this was not Microsoft's fault. I know a lot of people were initially blasting Microsoft and being like this was their fault. I remember that was like a very like initial agenda that people were pushing, was like when Redfall came out and it was terrible, they immediately were like, it was definitely Microsoft made them publish this, Microsoft was the reason why they made this game, and da-da-da. And then like when you actually look at the history of when they started developing this, you realize that this game was under development before Microsoft had even acquired Arcane, and that it was actually ZeniMax at the time. This game was chosen to be developed around the same time they were also working on Fallout 76. And this all makes sense because, you guys, we know, like, ZeniMax wanted to make more of those like multiplayer live service games, a la what Sony's trying to do now. So they were just like, all right, that's why Fallout 76 got created. And then Arcane was tasked with making a multiplayer version with their own arcane magic, if you will, their like signature style. And like what this article says, they don't do that shit. They're not a studio that does this. I don't know how many times we've noticed this, where it's like some big publisher or the owners of the said developing company, like, they pick a studio that has no pedigree in doing that type of game and they make them do it. Like BioWare was the same thing. It's like EA was like, we're making a live service. It seems like around 2016, and I'm trying to think what would cause this. Maybe it was because of Destiny. That's a good thing I'd want to ask somebody. I would actually be very interested in talking to the people that created Destiny, like some of the OGs that like were the brainchilds behind it, right? Like the original Halo guys. I would love to see a roundtable with them and being like, hey, do you ever sit there and you think to yourself, like, you actually caused irreparable damage to the gaming industry as a whole for making Destiny? Like, the amount of other studios that try to chase after that, like, that success that Destiny got, and make their own games, and how many games basically got destroyed and studios got destroyed doing that. I wonder if there's some sort of like self-reflection that they've had, as like, you know, kind of like we made this monster. We took something out of Pandora's box.
The answer would probably be no, because it's not Destiny's fault. Because at the end of the day, personal choice comes into play. They chose to do that dumbass shit, bro.
Well, I'm saying it as not as in their fault to do it. I'm just saying it as like,
they influenced it though.
It's an arms race, right? It's just like the arms race, right? Like did Oppenheimer when he made the nuke? He wasn't, initially he wasn't like thinking that like everyone would be making nukes and arming themselves.
He was just trying to end the war.
He was just trying to end the war. But then post that, like he didn't make all these other countries start to build their own nuclear arsenals and shit. But he was the flame that started the fire. Like he was the initial like light.
Yeah, it's a lingering effect. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if there is that sort of like, reflection of like, I don't think guilt, but like kind of like, damn, like how many potential like games that I caused or studios that I caused like damage to inadvertently because of Destiny. Because like publishers wanted to chase after that type of game that no other game had done before.
I mean, you can make that same argument for a lot of different. You can make that same argument for a lot of different studios. I mean, you can make that argument for like Grand Theft Auto. It influenced
World of
Warcraft
Warcraft
game design.
Yeah, World of Warcraft. Too.
Call of Duty. Everybody was trying to be Call of Duty at one point.
Yeah.
So it's like I wouldn't put that all on there. Like there's always like shifts and tides or whatever. So it is what it is.
They probably don't, but
it is wild to me that they were just like, I wish they had just took it in the back and shot it and like stopped this. And this is like that kind of. I remember how you brought it up last time, TBH, where you were just like, a lot of people try to blame publishers for everything, but there is a need for them. Like this is a great example of like. This was a moment where Microsoft was like what people want. They're just like, we want people to be creative and we're just going to step back and let you do what you want to do. This was an example where I feel like both sides should have been like, Arcane should have just been honest and went to Phil and was like, yo, we don't want to do, like, this is not a good idea. But I feel like it was kind of like they were screwed. They were just like, they just got acquired. They already had announced this thing and they were just like, I think they went too far and before
it had been a while. Because I remember they announced Redfall like 2 years ago.
It was like
it had been a while. It had been a while since they first revealed it before they even showed any actual gameplay. So before they actually showed any gameplay, if Microsoft would have stepped in and then been like, we're shutting this down, there would have been like a little bit of like disappointment and backlash. But you know how fast the internet is. It would have been like within a month. Yeah. Within a month, motherfuckers would have been over that shit. Now I don't even think it would have been because Scalebound had real hype. I don't think Redfall had like real hype. Like Scalebound, people were excited for that shit.
That's fair.
I think it would have just disappeared within a month. Like, oh, you remember Redfall? Not really. They should have shut it down and took the L. It is what it is, though.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because now look at this. This looks really bad on Microsoft and the fact that Phil Spencer like had an interview. Yeah, like it's really bad right now. And Arcane, again, as a developer, they should not really be at fault for this because at the end of the day, now this news came out that they didn't want to make it anyway. They didn't want to make a multiplayer experience, and the people end up leaving because of this as well. And all this, if all this tracks and is true, then yeah, I mean this makes total sense now, and I'm glad like we're getting this more and more news and this clarity. It's unfortunate that it's negative, but now this gives more of a context as to why this product came out how it did. Because again, as we know, Arcane makes great single player games, but now you have this multiplayer experience that they're not used to. Nobody in the studio really makes these type of games, and now you get a subpar product.
I know this one, this developer Harvey Smith. Like I followed him. He used to follow me on my old account. So Twitter took my account down. But
that might be the nerdiest thing you've ever said on the fucking podcast, right?
What? That I know one of the developers?
I follow. That's one of my favorite developers. I follow.
One of my favorite developers. Yeah, of course. Hey, people can do it with Code Demon, goddammit. I can do it with another fucking developer. Fuck you guys. But no, I just read too that like he was one of the. He said in an interview that early on he pushed back against adding an in-game store to Redfall, and they didn't. So.
The thirst for microtransactions, man, it's really sad. It's really sad.
Man, just
let them make what they do, bro. Let
people make the art they want to make, and if it's good, people will buy it. It's really that simple. But hey, we are not these corporations. Since the last podcast, there was a rumor that the next Mortal Kombat would be called Mortal Kombat 1 and not 12. Turns out that's not a rumor. It's actually a thing. A new trailer dropped. It's just CG. Nothing too crazy. I don't think anybody's going to have any hot takes on this, but next big fighter. I think they dropped the release date. Was there a release date on this one?
I heard that was a game, big dog.
Huh?
September 19th, my birthday.
September 19th, yeah, okay.
Yay.
Yeah, another big fighter coming this year. September 19th. That's right around the time of 2K. How are you going to balance grinding your My Player and playing Mortal Kombat, Jay?
I'm not playing 2K.
Mm-hmm.
And don't buy it for me again. Don't waste $70 again, please. I'm Becky. He's already applauding. This is terrible.
we need a power forward. Nah. So it is called Mortal Kombat 1 because it's a reset of the universe. I mean, there's not really much to say other than the trailer looks cool. Look out for it. What's not confirmed is these rumors that hit Twitter. Amazon Italy accidentally leaked Combat Pack 1, which is what they call DLC, the Combat Packs. 6 playable characters: Quan Chi, Omni-Man, Ermac, Peacemaker, Takeda, and Homelander. So it looks like these Homelander and Peacemaker rumors keep popping up. Is that doing anything for you, Jay?
I mean, I think it's cool because Homelander, as soon as they heard the rumors, a lot of people were like, wow, I think that character would be really nice as essentially a cameo or guest character in the Mortal Kombat game. So I think it'll be dope. I think that NetherRealm have done actually a really good job introducing guest characters and like having them mesh pretty well within the universe, the original roster. So I think it's cool.
There was a little bit of hoopla during the announcement of Mortal Kombat 12, and I'm not gonna lie, this time I kind of understand the gamers on this one. For those unaware, this will be a next-gen exclusive, except there will be a Switch version. So PS5, Xbox Series X, PC, and Nintendo Switch. So people who own PS4s and Xbox Ones was like, nigga. Like, because for those unaware, the Switch is weaker than both of us. So I can't wait for that Switch version of Mortal Kombat 12, boy. That shit
play the
goes
last one on Switch. I'm gonna play the next one on Switch.
I'm with most of the time I would clown the PS4 people, but I'm with y'all on this one. Like, that's kind of some bullshit. But go ahead, Jay.
that is messed up. But can we say this now? I think that we're further enough in the life cycle of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. If you still have a PS4 or Xbox One, please you're pretty much, Ethos. You're broke. And at bare minimum, you can go and get an Xbox Series S. So I'm not even trying to hear it now. If you're still complaining about the last gen version games, with the next gen version game not being on the last gen console, just go get another one, please.
Yeah, PS5s are everywhere in the wild. I'm seeing them now.
They are.
If you can't afford it, just sell your PS4 with all the games like on eBay. Because for those unaware, fun fact, I talk about this on stream all the time. Video games have a preservation issue. Now, for slow people, what that means is there's no official museum for games. So if you want to play older games, the only way you can get them is like swap meets, eBay, stuff like that. But also it means history gets lost because certain games, people just throw them away because they don't understand there's no preservation. So the point I'm trying to make is you could sell your PS4 with the whole games collection and make a decent amount of money off of eBay because somebody is trying to collect those games because 20 years from now, they'll be worth a lot of money. That's why I'm holding on to my games. If you don't know about retro gaming, people be flipping like a motherfucker on the game. So invest in yourself. If you really need to, sell the whole thing like a bundle on eBay. Somebody will buy it. You can probably get at least like $100-something for it. Or somebody
want a sealed copy of Kingdom Hearts 3 on the PS2? I got it.
See?
Sealed.
There are certain games that are like, they're so rare they're worth like thousands, hundreds of dollars and shit like that. And like you might actually have one and you don't even know it.
I found a bunch of my old ones when they were in my box, and I had a PS1 copy of Legends of Legaia and the PS1 game, and it's in good condition. The discs are all there and it has the manuals and stuff. I checked on eBay. It's worth like anywhere between 85 to like 150.
And if you do a listing, do your research on what the market is charging. Like, look at your whole game collection and then base the price off of that. Like, I got a copy of Project Cross Zone on the 3DS. I know that shit rare gonna be worth that's gonna be worth a lot of money in like 10-20 years, bro. So I hold on to that shit.
Any 3DS you have, save it, because the store got shut down. So any digital games you have on that, it made the price of them worth like astronomically.
Trying to put y'all on game. All you
game
broke
is
boys.
game.
Yeah, game is game, bro. How the fuck a fat bitch?
How the fucking Nintendo Wii?
That nigga is so fucking funny, bro. Let's keep it on the topic of fighting games. Another rumor, take it with a grain of salt. Disney and Square Enix are reportedly working on a Smash Bros. Inspired game called Disney Domination. Here's the bullet points you need to know. Disney Domination will feature up to 55 characters at launch. They spread across a single-player campaign that features 60 stages. There will be so many online modes. Did like Trump write this? Including 12-player online battles, voice chat battles. What does that mean? roast fights, like roasting shit.
Voice chat battles.
Yeah, like niggas just in the room talking shit. Disney Domination, whatever that means, missions and more. There will be a lounge in Disney Domination where players can go to share custom stages and other content. It will boast a unique art style that looks something out of Unreal Engine 5, and it's supposed to be edgy. Reportedly, it's being developed by Square Enix, but that's totally unconfirmed. Now, the reason I brought this up is because I've seen this rumor pop up at least 3 or 4 times in the past few months, and I'm starting to think that where there's some smoke, there's some fire. But the thing is, like, after the failure of Nickelodeon All-Stars, Multiverses, well, technically Multiverses didn't fail. They shut it down, right, guys? You know, they're going to come back. Do we think there's space for Disney Domination? Do you think it could work, Jay?
I mean, with the constant fails of Nickelodeon game, now this recent Warner Brothers game, I'm going to say no. I think that Smash Brothers has it on lock, and then maybe there's a small market for Brawlhalla over there because that has a co audience. But I really don't have any expectations for this game lasting if it does end up coming out at all. We shall see. I mean, Disney got bread, so I mean they have the potential to make it work, and I mean you're working with Square Enix, so now you also get their roster. So I mean there's potential roster wise and financial backing wise, but that still all doesn't matter if the game comes out and the casual fans don't get on it, and especially if the FGC finds it to be trash. So we will see, but like I said, I thought that Multiverses would have some potential out of all of them, and even that ended up struggling after not even probably a month of us playing the game. So I have no expectation that this is going to do well. I'll be surprised.
What about you, Ethos? I can't hear you. You need to sit up on your mic.
Yeah.
Please pull your mic to you closer.
I have no take.
Well, I'll give you my take then. I think it can succeed, but it's like a slither of hope. I give them 25% chance they succeed, and the reason being is they have the star power, Disney. So you have the whole Snow White versus Spider-Man, because keep in mind what Disney owns. They don't just own all the Disney princess shit, but then they got Marvel. They also got Star Wars. Luke Skywalker versus fucking Beauty and the Beast. Like, so they have that, like, multiverses. I think where multiverses fucked up, because they had the star power too, was the lack of game modes, the lack of content. The battle pass was ass. They didn't add a rank mode. Basically, it was very undercooked, like Anthem. The foundation was there, but then everything else wasn't. So if they come in and there's a ton of content, possibly the online is smooth, possibly, but then I'm gonna dial it back. I'm going to say, here's why it also couldn't work. Because it's saying it's being developed by Square Enix. They ain't ever made no party brawler. Have they ever made a fighting game, period? And isn't Square Enix the ones that publish fucking Marvel's Avengers too? Like, I don't know, man. Like,
yeah.
So it's like, this could go either way. I'm not going to say yes or no. I say, let's sit back and see if this, because this is all rumors anyway. But I keep seeing this rumor, so I'm starting to think there might be some truth to it. If it is real, let's wait to see it when a trailer drops. Maybe at that real PlayStation showcase in July, maybe we'll get something out of it.
The Disney showcase?
Oh yeah. When's that supposed to be? Disney showcase?
I don't know. Remember they did one last year and it was like, wow, you hyped us up for this? And we were like, meh. I think it's going to be whatever that next one will be. When they were showing off the Avatar game that Ubisoft had.
Yeah. Whatever happened to that Star Wars Ubisoft game they was hyping up? They said that was going to change the game. They ain't show shit.
It must be gas. I have faith that game might actually be pretty cool just because it's working.
I wish I could have some faith in you sitting up on your mic.
No! Oh
so you
my
don't,
God.
You're cutting out. I think you have attenuation turned on.
Oh my God. No, I don't. I don't have it.
What's the name? So yeah, look out for that rumor. See if it's any extra. I mean, if it's actually real. Here's another rumor too for you guys. According to Dextero, emails have surfaced that claim Nintendo was tipped off by Valve's lawyers that there is a Dolphin emulator coming to Steam. So like a lot of people were excited that, for those unaware, the Dolphin emulator allows you to play GameCube and like Switch games on PC. And apparently there was going to be an app coming to Steam, and people were excited about that because then you could be able to play like on your Steam Deck, and also it just made it easier to use. But it looks like rumors are claiming that Valve told them no. shut it down. What do you think about that, Jay?
I mean, whoever or the developers of Dolphin Emulator, you shouldn't have tried to put it on Steam. It's like, I get it, but that's basically asking for yourself to get shut down. Like, we've heard about Dolphin Emulator for a while now, and you should have just left it how it was. Like, if people want to get it, they can get it by other means, but making it, essentially an ease of access for something that's plain anything of Nintendo's doing, it's a big no-no. Like, we already talked about it, I think on last pod or the pod before that, about people getting clapped. So Nintendo is really nobody to play with. So, I mean, allegedly, if this happened and Valve was like, well, we're not trying to get in trouble with y'all, Nintendo, because we already know how y'all get down, then this definitely tracks. I mean, it's pretty much open and shut type of thing. So this would make perfect sense that Valve was like, hell no. Like, you see what they doing over there? That ain't us. That's them. Get them.
This story reminds me of the story of Nicky Barnes. Are y'all familiar with Nicky Barnes?
Yes, sir.
All right, so for those who aren't, Jay is. Ethos is not really tapped in with the streets, which is weird because he's from Detroit. But anyways, the story of Nicky Barnes, the short version of it is he was one of the biggest heroin dealers in the 1970s in Harlem. And he had his own group called the Commission, and he kept beating cases because they didn't have evidence on him. So he got so cocky, he ended up going on Time magazine wearing a fancy suit, and he called himself Mr. Untouchable. And like, that's kind of the vibe I got when they decided to put the Dolphin Emulator on Steam, like, nigga, like Mr. Untouchable, and like they was like, nah, nigga, you're not untouchable. Like, it's just a stupid move, like JG said. It's like, keep that shit on the low because it's a gray area. You know, the Nintendo Yakuza coming through with the come through, so like, just let it be. So for those of you excited about the emulator coming to Steam, it's looking like it's probably not, because Valve is out here snitching. They are not on your team. I wish Valve would snitch on all them racist ass games on their platform. That's crazy, ain't it?
Bro, they got some crazy games. I saw it. It's not a racist game, but I saw a game get advertised, and it was purely about sex. It was like people just having sex, like some weird ass, like kinky type of sex. I'm like, bro, this should not be advertised on your main store page. Like, I don't know what they're doing over there, but some of these games like really need to go.
Yeah, when I typed in the Elden Ring, the first thing that came up was Tyrone Ring or some shit like that. And it was like, yeah, remember when I put it in the group chat? Yes. It was some nigga wearing, if you have not seen this up, look it up. It was a nigga wearing a do-rag. He had like Henny, and it was like a bootleg ghetto ass Elden Ring. It was just straight up racist, bro. And he was like fighting for the gold chains and shit like that. I'm like, why is this allowed? Like, I'm not personally offended, but I'm like, I'm looking at it from like a business standpoint. I'm like, why would you allow that to even be on your fucking servers, bro? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, what's the process, Ethos, for even getting the game green lighted on Steam? Is it really difficult? Because apparently it doesn't seem like it.
It used to be, but Valve opened up the floodgates, because originally they banned, like, you couldn't put like porno games and like very like violent games, that you weren't allowed to like put those on. Steam would never allow it. It had a very tight curve. But then Valve was like, this is why a bunch of games hit. Valve opened up the floodgates because they wanted to allow more indie games. A lot of indie devs were like, well, this is the biggest storefront, we can't put our games on. So they kind of opened Pandora's box by allowing to put their game up there. And originally it was just, you just pay a $100 fee and you can get any game you want. That was a mistake. And then they tried to curate it using a green light system. That failed. I remember that, where you could like upvote games you wanted to see.
Yeah.
And that failed. That died because it just got too much to manage and there was just too many games. The system could be manipulated by voting, so people would like be buying people out to get bots or buying players to go upvote their thing. It was pretty bad. So they just said, fuck it. We stopped giving a fuck more. So all they did then was like, all right, we'll just allow everything on the site. And then if it's like 18 plus or whatever it is, we put like, there's like sensors and stuff that you can do where you're just like, I don't want to see any of this type of game content, and games that get categorized in those content, you just won't see them if your profile is set up. So I think you have to. That's the gist of it. It doesn't take that much anymore to get games up on Steam. It's relatively pretty easy, as long as you're not like doing DMCA, so like you're stealing people's game, post them on, then you can get in trouble.
Yeah, obviously it's easy to get your game on there, because not only is there like racist stuff on there, but there's fake games on there too, like the day before. Remember that game? Yeah, it never came out. It's not real.
No comment.
Let's move on to some more lighthearted, funny stories, man. There was a couple funny stories since the last podcast. All right, I got one for y'all. So a report claims 2 men got jobs at Amazon just to steal copies of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So according to Kotaku, when Mr. A called his home, which is the boss, the man's mother answered and straight up told him her son was at home playing video games. When Mr. A later found out the game was Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and that neither the physical or the digital copy of the game had been released yet, he confronted the employee, who instantly confessed that he had only gotten the job to get his hands on Tears of the Kingdom early, and he had lifted a copy from the warehouse when it had arrived. Having been caught, the man returned the game, paid for it, and then was fired. The second worker was a 24-year-old man and had slightly different plans. He too was found to have stopped coming to work just before Tears of the Kingdom's release date. Mr. A again suspected, so this is the same Amazon warehouse in Japan. Mr. A again suspected a Zelda vacation, only this time the perpetrator, who also instantly confessed, had stolen a bunch of Zelda-related merchandise. So you left the trail, including amiibos and Zelda-themed Pro Controllers, with aim of reselling them on sites like Mercari, which I'm going to guess is like a Japanese eBay. He was also fired. What's this story doing for you, Ethos?
That I give him A for effort. Definitely had to have the balls to just get hired just for a week before, just so you can get your access to Zelda. That takes a lot of audacity to do. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't have, if I did this, I wouldn't have snitched on myself that quickly and that easily. Yeah, it's wild. It's crazy. People would do it for game. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I don't understand. It's like, if there was a new Mass Effect game, would I not potentially do what it takes to play it early?
Nah.
Maybe, but I wouldn't get myself thrown in jail for it. Don't get me wrong. That's no way you can get away with that in prison and be like, oh, Zelda. But if there was a way that you could potentially play within the grays of legality, I think a lot of people would potentially go for their favorite.
You want to hear some funny thing about this story is I honestly feel like these two could have got away with stealing this copy of a game, because Amazon is a multi-billion-dollar company. One little $70 game can slip through the cracks every once in a while.
I'm not gonna say it, but I
here's how I think they could have got away with it. And this is why they're dumbasses. First of all, the second one's a dumbass because he left a paper trail. There was already somebody who stole a Zelda copy. This man stole a Zelda copy plus a bunch of Zelda amiibos and shit. So that was a dead giveaway. But the first one could have got away if he would have just quit afterwards. He just quit afterwards. They would have probably never noticed it, but because he wasn't showing up to work, they noticed that, and then they noticed this, and then he got his ass clapped up, bro. So it was like,
or you could have just went back to work like at least for a couple more days just to make it not seem as suspicious. I found it even more hilarious because the first guy, Mr. A, the contractor, he called. They said they called the guy's residence when they found out that he wasn't coming to work anymore. And then his mother picked up the phone and then proceeded to snitch on him. They say, yeah, he's playing video games like over here. and then the guy was like, yeah, he was like, I did it. so then you had no choice but to tell on yourself. Was like, yeah, I did it, man. I'm at home playing Zelda. Like, what do you want me to do?
It's crazy too, because I think the quitting method would actually work for the simple fact, because for those of you unaware, Amazon has one of the highest turnover rates for jobs, because it's really hard to be working in the warehouse or whether you do delivery. So if you'd have just woke up and be like, I quit, this shit hard, they would have believed it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I know somebody, I know a friend who not even a friend, but I know people allegedly that work for Amazon. They tell me that this is more common than you realize, because Amazon is a multi-million, they just have so much product that goes through. He's like, there's so much stuff, especially they said a lot of the stuff that just gets stuck in overstock, basically, where it's just it's not selling out, it's just sitting there, whatever it is, or a lot of it just some stuff will just magically just disappear and people just won't even care about it. They're just because a lot of people are just fuck Amazon, and they don't, and Amazon makes so much money, they just don't even care because they need people to do the job. So they just as long as it's not people are stealing expensive, multiple $1,000 items and stuff like that. But if they're stealing this $50 item here, $40, they're just gonna sweep it on the rug as long as it doesn't make them reoccurring.
It's crazy how they
need to do that.
It's crazy how they can't catch these people stealing this little copy of Zelda without all the extra effort. But And they also can't catch people fucking in their warehouses and shit. They can catch the Zoe, but they can't catch the people fucking in the warehouses. That's crazy.
They be doing. Oh yeah, they do.
Oh yeah, I've seen some crazy.
I see TikToks all the time. They be bragging about it. I've seen so many TikToks of dudes be like, "Yo, if your girl work at an Amazon warehouse at night, it's over, dude." It's over. Get that back, bro.
I even seen a TikTok dudes like a dude and a chick like sleeping together, like that show work hubby, like sleeping together, like Jay finding them.
Oh yeah, I saw with the boss. The boss come by like, "What the fuck are y'all doing?"
Yeah, bro.
That was what it was. Yeah.
It's rough out here trying to get out the game, bro. Rough out here. Last little funny story I got for y'all is police arrest gunman who robbed a store. But here's the catch. The gunman was sporting an NES Zapper. Now, for all you Gen Zs out there, back when we were young whippersnappers, in the original Nintendo Entertainment System, there was what we refer to as a light gun, where basically you had to hold the gun close to the screen. It would use the light to detect the motion, and then you could shoot people. Like my first game I ever played was Duck Hunt. That was like the main game that used it. So according to WBTV, David Joseph whatever is accused of entering a quick stop in Sharon, South Carolina while wearing a wig, a mask, and a hoodie. He then brandished the NES Zapper, a toy made for the Nintendo Entertainment System in the mid-1980s, and demanded the money. The clerk handed over $300 before they left the scene. Now, to be fair, the convenience store clerk, the Zapper was painted black as one of the 1985 models, but you can still see the orange. So like they painted it so it's not like the traditional gray. But even still, this shit don't. What gun is this? Wait, can y'all see the picture on the notes?
Yes.
Yeah, look at that. Would you believe that's a real gun?
No. Not at all. But again, like in those moments, like, do you have time to really analyze? Like, it looks ridiculous, bro. Yeah, the orange trigger, yeah, it's ridiculous.
The grip gives the little indents on the gun give. Oh my
like some shit out of Star Fox. Like, get the fuck out! What gun is that, bro?
Eddie has purple hair. Eddie has blue hair. This cannot be more funny.
If you know what's funny, I was not gonna bring that up, but.
That's
so blue hair Twitter, bro.
Oh shit, bro!
Blue hair Sonic looking.
This guy look crazy, bro.
Oh my goodness. So, I'm showing it. If you're watching the video version, I'm showing what the actual perpetrator looked like when they caught him, because eventually they caught him like right down the street. But my man was down bad when he pulled up with the light gun. He said, "Give me all your ducks right now."
Like, why do you go through painting the entire Zapper but not the orange trigger? Like, why? Just go through and do that too.
I don't know, man. All I can say is this is why freaking that chick hates gamers. Like, they're just horrible people, man. They're horrible people. If you don't know who I'm talking about, JG's got. We're gonna move over to the social justice warrior section of the podcast. Let me find this clip on my phone. I got it. I'm actually gonna play it into the mic so that the audience can actually get reference to what we're talking about. So I'm gonna need you guys to be I'm gonna be quiet for like the next 40 seconds so we can actually reference this. Hold up. We'll turn this up because JG's got some beef. Social justice warrior section.
No, video games are for children. Wow. And so being in dating, I would rather you have a hobby that's not video games. Something that enlightens you.
You don't think video games do that at all?
I mean, I ain't gonna hold you. My favorite video game growing up, it was Frogger. So I'm just helping a frog cross
that
the street.
Track. Oh my God. All arguments invalid. Frogger? Of all the amazing games
I got another Frogger. I got another one. Grand Theft Auto.
ETAs, one of your favorite.
Grand Theft Auto. Before you decided to keep this going as a grown man.
Right. Which I have made very, very lucrative for myself.
And by the way, were you always a gamer?
I grew up playing games like Final Fantasy VII, you don't know it.
Yeah,
Kingdom Hearts 2, you don't know it. Mega Man X.
She's basically saying grown men shouldn't play games. They're losers. They don't get money. Blah, 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 blah. JG responded to this on Twitter. He had some serious beef with this, and he said, "Man, throw that shit on the fucking notes, bro." So I threw that shit on the fucking notes. What you got to say to this woman, Jay?
Look. So for all the audience that has listened to us for years, back when they had 3 members on the See the Thing Is podcast, and this is Mandy, Bridget, and at one point in time Olivia, who was a dark-skinned girl. She made a comment. Mandy made a comment again. Back then, it said that. I don't want grown men who play video games. Grown men shouldn't be playing video games. And Olivia was like, "Hey, like I play games with my man all the time." But like, shout out to Olivia. because I really like, you know, her stance on that. She was like, what is the problem? Like, how about you play things with your man? Like, if your man is into video games, then why don't you, you know, play it with him or show interest in what he has a hobby in? And years later down the line, now we're having this same topic get brought up. And again, like, and she got ate up because apparently this clip is like a few months old. It's not a recent podcast episode, but again, this was brought up. And shout out to Cleo Thomas. If you don't know who Cleo Thomas is, he was on Holes back in the day. He's probably one of the only notable people that people remember from that movie. But now he streams and he does.
There's a little light skinned kid that was following around Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. So in any case, so that was the guest on the show, and that's who you were hearing for the people who were listening to the audio only podcast. But she brings up this again, and then she got ate up, and she was like, "Well, I don't give a fuck about anybody's opinions," and she was like, "I still don't like grown men who play video games. I win." And I was like, really? Like, this is very ignorant, it's very childish. Like, you're talking about guys who play video games or childish, but like, people aren't upset at your preference. Everyone has a preference. Like, literally everybody has a preference to who they want to date and who they don't want to date. But what I find an issue with, and what everybody else finds an issue with, is you saying that grown men don't play video games. Like, like children play video games. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, there are games that are literally mature and they are not for children. Like, there are games for everybody, but there are literally games that children should not and cannot play. So that's invalid. And then you brought the comment when she was talking about that games aren't enlightening. I was like, do you know that video games actually have a positive effect on people, like their reaction time, their cognitive dissonance? So like, there are actual studies that say like video games are positive. The problem is, and she isn't the only one that has given this opinion. We've actually probably see this like every 3 months with the woman saying something along those lines, like, I don't want a man to play a video game, like it's a childish thing. But what ends up being the root of the issue is, like, you see in relationships, if a woman is dating a man who plays video games, like, he gets obsessive. Like, it may be a man who plays video games every single day for, you know, more than 4 hours at a time, and isn't giving you the attention, or isn't putting you know, their time into getting a job, or, you know, in your case, like doing something productive, because that's what it really is seen as. You're not doing anything productive. And yeah, you know, if a guy is just sitting on your couch playing games all day and isn't doing anything else and making any money, yeah, that's that case. But you can't take your personal experiences in your relationships and just take that to everybody, and just say, oh, well, if you play games, you're a child. Like, video games are for children. And that's what I find an issue with. So like I said, I'm tired of hearing it. I don't know why we're still having this same mindset in 2023, but you have to get off of that, because there are literal millionaires who have made a killing because they play video games. So yes, video games are a lucrative actual occupation now. You cannot say that anymore. So like, take whatever your personal experience is and throw that shit in the trash. Stop saying this. And I don't care if we're like, oh, it's a joke. But the way that, you know, Mandy was reacting, like, it's not a joke. You're just doubling down and tripling down at this point and saying, oh, my opinion is valid. But what you're saying is not an opinion at this point. Is literally false, saying that video games are for children and video games don't enlighten you. We are literally the enlightened ones on this podcast. Like, we've been doing this for years, and we are making a career out of this and making money for it. So like, I just feel like that's bullshit, and she just needs to stop saying that.
Shout out to JG with the politically correct answer. I don't got one. I don't give a fuck what she got to say. Like, this stuff doesn't offend me. Like, she's allowed to have her an opinion, and I personally just don't care what anybody who has to say that's irradiating like single mother behavior. Like, I really don't care, bro. Like, she's a ratchet. Like, it's what I expect. Like, she clearly got her heart broken by an unemployed nigga who plays 2K, and like, it's just really just got to her. I really don't give a fuck about this shit. The only thing I didn't like about that clip was how she treated Cleo as like the guest. Like, I felt like that was very kind of distasteful. Like, you have a guest on and you're like just kind of belittling him, and like, it's okay to have like a different of an opinion, but at least let the man talk. And like, he handled that shit with class, like a champ. Mm-hmm. But like, she was just kept like belittling, and I'm like, are you trying to have a conversation, or are you just trying to push an agenda? Like, that shit is corny to me. And like, that's why I said I'm not gonna be politically correct about it. That's the main issue I had with. I just didn't like how she treated the guest. I wouldn't do nobody like that.
Yeah, because if you listen to that clip, she said, as a grown man, it was the way that she said it. I was like, nah, like, you're really trying to you're really trying to hit this point home that like your guest who you invited on the show, like I would hope that you have done some research about him. I'm sure that's why this conversation even came up. It's like, yeah, Cleo, like, yeah, you were in movies, but you play video games now, and that's your, you know, main source of income now. So it's like you can't do those things like that. That's just very disrespectful to not only him, but again, anybody who is in this industry or anybody who even just casually plays video games. Like as a man, like you saying that every grown man who plays video games is a child, or they're not for us, like that's bullshit.
Another fatherless child. You got any take, Ethos?
It's just stupidity. And like, it's just one of those things where it's just like, it's the year of our Lord 2023, and this is really still like a take that some people still believe in. Is just insane. Gaming's just more popular than ever. Done multiple things for a lot of people. I've said it multiple times, but like people that don't understand is like they just shake. How many people would we have never met? For example, like I would say like Mass Effect changed my life forever. I would have never met TBH. I never would have met like any of the other people if it wasn't for them. So yeah, I don't buy. I can tell you how many opportunities I got because of video games and the people that I've been able to meet. And I've traveled around the world thanks to video games. So to sit there and be like, it's not a thing for grown ass. And I get it from a perspective of if a person's doing nothing with their life and all they're doing is, then yeah, I totally get how like someone can feel this type of way if like they're just sitting on the couch, they just play games, they don't have a job, they're not doing anything. Totally get that. That's a totally different topic. Because
that's why I said earlier, educated guess, an unemployed nigga who played Madden all day broke her heart. Yeah. That's all that is. So now she affiliates it with all gamers. It's just an ignorant take.
Yeah, or you were dating somebody and they put more time. Like I know this as a fact. There's definitely people that have been in relationships with people who just like they were just like not ready for a relationship, or they cared more about the game than they did about the relationship. And I mean, people can make that conscious decision. Of course, you have to communicate that with your partner and just be like, hey, I care a lot about this thing, or I take this thing as very important to me and I have to do this. And if your partner can't work within those confines or doesn't like how much like this sort of thing takes up your time, then it's better if you just keep moving forward with it.
Yeah, and I've said this before on this podcast and on streams, but you know, when me and my wife first moved in together, like I was in that single dude mode still, where I worked my 9 to 5, and then as soon as I got off, like I immediately hopped on video games. And my wife was like, look, like when I get home, like I want to do things with you, even if it's as simple as just watching TV on the couch. And I was like, you know what? Like I need to find a way to successfully divide my time. Like she understood what I did. Like, yes, I streamed and I made YouTube videos and we did the pod. Like, you know, we were, you know, trying to make something out of everything. So she understood that part, but she didn't understand like the whole casual aspect of it too. The
relaxing aspect.
Yeah, the relaxing. Yeah, you know, and again, that was part of my routine. So I had to get out of my routine and you know, reevaluate, you know, what's important. Because I could have easily said like, F you, like this is what I want to do. But it's like, I cared about you. And it's like, yeah, like I don't think that that's a huge ask to, you know, have me dedicate like days specifically for video games and days for you. And, you know, that's what I still follow today. Like, even, you know, I have a child and I have another child on the way. So, like, things like this, like, I just have to successfully coordinate, you know, when I can do which. And now I'm literally at a point where I barely even play video games unless I'm streaming. But I have those times where I try to dedicate towards those things. So you just have to figure it out.
Don't listen to the married man. No, don't.
I know, right? Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about.
What you're talking about right now is maturity and, like, understanding and compromise. And the problem with what you're saying is, in that clip, she's, and this is why I'm going to take a wild guess. Is she single?
I mean, I have no clue, because again, her subsequent tweets after she, you know, just said it's my opinion and I don't give a fuck what anybody says, but she was like, I just want a man who doesn't lie to me.
So and I was probably like, single. Boy.
Probably.
What a shocker. What a shocker.
That she probably is single at this point.
My issue was not what she said. It was just I didn't like how she talked to him. And then like they still try to push that weird stereotype on gamers, which is the case for some of them. But you have a very well-spoken, well-dressed, good-looking dude there talking to you about games that can hold a conversation about other things, and you still like belittle him. It's one of those things that's like, that's why I tweeted out Destroy all podcast equipment besides ours. Destroy it all, man. Like it's creeping into every. It started with the dating stuff. It's like in general, and it's creeping into every topic. I just be seeing the stupidest shit on fucking TikTok, and I'm just like, bruh, can we destroy? We need to get like a license for people to use the internet or something. I don't know, man, because the Village Idiot is loud as fuck right now. It is what it is.
Regulate the podcast. You know, when you have to go in the store and buy a gun, you got to show ID. You need to do that for podcast.
Yeah.
Don't want to buy him out.
Like, would you like a podcast, Mike? Take this test from me. All right. Yeah. The question is, when you see a black person minding their business down the street, A, do you say, oh, looks like a nice gentleman? Or B, F that N-word? Well,
how many states are there in the United States of America?
You know how many people fucking fail that test?
What is the capital of your state?
Yeah, what's the capital of the state that you're in right now?
Who is your mayor and governor?
We need to have some type of test. Let's move to something a little bit more lighthearted in the social justice world. We need your take on this, Jay, as our social justice expert. World-renowned Twitch streamer Amaranth is getting her very own artificial intelligence companion, allowing fans to chat with her at any time. And apparently this is like an example of the actual text, and it says, "Hey there, kissing emoji. I'm Amaranth, your sexy and playful girlfriend. I'm ready to make our time on Forever Companion unforgettable. Let's explore mind-blowing adventures from steaming gaming sessions to our wildest fantasies. Are you excited to join me?" What's that doing for you, Jay?
It's doing absolutely nothing for me, but all right, I'm not going to give a terrible take here. I actually think that this is brilliant, especially for her, because she needs to satisfy her fans' needs, right? Mm-hmm. But she doesn't have the time. You know, she's building this empire. She has gas stations. She's doing her hot tub streams. When does she have the time to respond to little Timmy, who sent her a DM 2 days ago saying, "Hey, beautiful"? She doesn't. So get an AI to do it, and he still feels satisfied. And he's going to continue to give her money when she streams. Brilliant.
What about you, game developer? As a game developer, do you think like there could be any type, like, let's say you worked with like an OnlyFans girl that wanted to come up with her own AI companion. Do you think there's any games you could implement inside the chat, like with it, like play with some pussy type games? Like how would you think that would work? Like some type of text mini game? Remember like the old text adventures on PC? Like shit. Like if you type, you know, like play with your pussy, then like you get like a certain response. Like what do you think that would do? Like,
didn't we interview porn thing one time at E3?
Yeah, the E3 porn thing.
The E3 porn thing. I mean, it's like the same thing, right? Like it's just like
which is funny, by the way. I never forget because
that interview was the best interview.
No, the interview was funny because afterwards he asked Anon, he's like, "How do you feel about it?" So for those in the way, it was a VR headset, and then I guess it was like a
Black was wearing it, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Anon was like, it wasn't really for me, and he was like, "Why?" He's like, "Because I couldn't really imagine myself in it." And then the developer's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You know, like he wanted a black dick." I remember looking at him like, "Really, nigga?" Like,
no, yeah, we'll take that feedback back.
Shit. I don't think that update ever came out. But this shit is funny. Whatever, man. If them suckers want to pay for it, none of my business.
They will too, bro. Like, just imagine you getting the instant response when you say something, bro. They
run it up.
Crazy.
I don't get mad at these chicks. Run it up, bro. You need to go find your father, nigga. Why you acting like that? Did y'all see the clip, by the way, that was been going viral of the dude? I guess he said that he was some big girl's big streamer's Twitch mod, and I guess he met her in real life and busted when he hung
in his pants, bro.
Oh my god!
I'm like, bro, man, you setting men back, bro. You setting men back when
it's that shit that, you know, when they be talking on Twitter, like
Like, you know the crazy thing?
All men are trash. I see something like, fuck, y'all are making this.
He so confidently
bad,
said it like it was funny. I'm like, that's not funny, bro. Like,
it's not funny.
Funny, bro.
And the even worse thing that people weren't talking about in that clip is like the immediate response to when he said that. They were like, well, is your streamer hot? I'm like, bro,
what?
Does that even matter? Like, bro, you came in your pants from hugging her.
You're like, yeah, beat your meat. Why are you busting off a fucking hug?
God.
And then also you fucked your own money up too, because I'm pretty sure that girl that you were modding for, she saw that shit. Yeah. She's like, yo, get him out of here. He's a fucking creep.
Now you're a fucking weirdo. She probably didn't even know that. And now you just said it in front of tons of people.
That's who that girl from the other podcast was talking about, Jay. The gamers that she hates. She said that they all like
I don't blame her then at this point if that's what she's referring to.
What's the name? Y'all heard that new Gunna song where he was like addressing snitching and shit?
I actually did, yeah.
Yeah, you liked it?
I heard it.
It was all right.
What's the name of the new Gunna song? Where he dresses in?
Bread and butter.
Bread and butter, yeah. The new Gunna song, Bread and Butter. He dropped. He's addressing all the snitching allegations against YSL and Young Thug.
Forgiving him, or are they still acting like?
I was just bringing that up.
Nobody's forgiving him for real. No.
I was just bringing that up because that's not snitching in court is not the only way to snitch. Apparently, you can snitch on the PS4, the PS5. So, according to Drama Alert, a PlayStation video game recording helped solve the murder of a Michigan man. This is in your backyard, Ethos. The suspected killer, Daryl King.
What city? Did they say what city?
He didn't even link the source. I couldn't find it. Was heard threatening Deshaun something during an online match. This evidence was submitted by an anonymous player, which led to King's charges. So apparently, I guess these two were arguing over a game of 2K or something because they said it was a basketball game. They were playing that or NBA Live, which I doubt. And apparently, Daryl was like, "I'm gonna kill you, nigga." And I guess somebody else was in the party chat. They recorded that and they submitted it to the police. And now he has been charged with murder because he got a confession. So the point is, why are y'all talking about killing people over fucking Xbox and PlayStation?
I mean, everybody does. Everybody tells people to go kill themselves and stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Video games, so.
And this time, somebody was real.
I'm a little bit more creative. I don't need to do that. But,
yeah, this motherfucker from Detroit. He got buffed.
Yeah, that sounds about your back town. I liked your tweet the other day where you said, "Man, they got AI in Detroit to take my order." I was like, "Yeah, don't check out RoboCop in fucking Detroit become human." There's lots of AI in Detroit. There's lots to keep the people in check.
Look, a lot of people, unfortunately, it's good sci-fi, but a lot of people made the comparison to how Detroit was the home of how it innovated the world. It changed the world forever through making the automobile. At the next evolution, which would be AI, would start in and robot.
Still not moving.
Seems like a natural connection. Nobody asking you to move. You can die in the pits of no water in California.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, bro. Deshaun Guthridge was his name. He was on Crime Stopper. They were looking for him, boy. After this,
Crime Stoppers. They had to call T.I.
That's Gunna shit too, bro.
Gunna was on there too. That's right. Gunna and T.I. Call Crime Stoppers.
Yeah, it's motherfucking Detroit. He died on the 1600 block of Kent Street near Seymour Avenue.
See, that's your old stomping grounds. I knew you knew.
That's not my stomping grounds. That's not my hood, but I know where it is. I know where that.
That's where you first came up with the idea for Samurai Zero. You was on the block.
No, I know, because if AB's listening to this, AB knows where the idea of it came from, and he's gonna be cracking up because he actually knows what actually was the AB. I have a good laugh. You know exactly what I'm talking
about. Jay, when you hear the phrase "phase up," what do you think nowadays?
Poverty.
I was gonna say the N-word, but
I was gonna say the N-word too.
They dropped a few Hiroshimas on us. What's the name? So there's some drama going on with the FaZe clan. They recently signed Grace Van Dyne, she was on a part of the cast of Stranger Things, to FaZe clan, and this caused a whole explosion within the camp. Some of the OGs didn't like the signing, because for those of you unaware, let me look it up. Current price of FaZe stock. I think it's like 50 cents. So FaZe is a publicly traded company. Right now, their shares are going for 54 cents a share. Basically, they're not worth shit. And right now they're trying to find a way to dig themselves out of the hole. And one of the big complaints, I guess, the FaZe clan OGs have been talking about is the moves they've been making has just been signing celebrities that have added no value to their company. They haven't really contributed any type of content, which, gives them like kickback. So they were upset that this Grace lady was from Stranger Things was signed, because they're like, we're doing it again, because now FaZe is owned by Suits. It's not owned by the players anymore, because they hired some people to run the business. So there's a war going on, a lot of foul things being said about each other on Twitter, and then Grace hopped on Twitter to respond to all the backlash, and she brought up one of the FaZe members ODing. They did a whole video. I'm gonna be honest, I don't give a fuck about this shit. Who has to put this on the nose? Because I don't care about this shit.
I did.
What you
I
wanna
only
talk
brought it up. Because one, when this was first announced, and she got the initial backlash. This wasn't even about the FaZe guys at first, but she got backlash by everybody. They were like, "Yo, like." Because in her video, she was talking about, she like, I'm one of the first girl gamers who was signed to FaZe, and everybody was like, no, it was this girl. I think because Kaylee Renee or so, yeah, somebody else. I forgot her name. So sorry if I'm messing it up, but
The one that said
but she
get
wasn't the
fucked,
first.
right?
Yeah, that girl. Yeah, her. Yeah. The girl said get fucked. Yeah. So it was her. So everybody was like, well, like there was already a girl who was signed to FaZe, but she was like, I would just want to uplift girl gamers. Like she was on that type of time. Everybody was like, oh, like shut the hell up about that. But then of course, then the reverse backlash was everybody was like, oh, y'all just doing this because she's the girl. And then the FaZe members started getting into it, and they was like, well, what the F? Like, why are you doing the same thing? You're still signing these celebrities, hoping that they're going to essentially revive FaZe. And I mean, that's not it. Like, why would FaZe continue doing this? Because do any of you recall when Snoop Dogg signed and he had that one tweet?
Bronny James.
He had his chain on Bronny, Kyler Murray, like the list goes on, all these celebrities and athletes that they signed, but it literally did not move the needle in FaZe at all. Like it actually made it worse because now you're spending more money on these athletes and celebrities for what? Nothing. They're not going to promote you. They may do one or two things, but again, it's not going to move the needle in the overall spectrum. Like people just want to see FaZe go back to its roots, and I mean that's pretty much why the FaZe members are, trick shotting, trick shotting in Call of Duty. That's their roots. You think it's a joke, but that's really true, and that's what the FaZe members and OG people who liked FaZe. That's how FaZe even came up. Like they just wanted to go back to its roots and not sign all these athletes and celebrities. But also the OG FaZe members have problems with the board because we see what they're doing still isn't working, and they can't see the numbers. They're getting fucked over. You're again just wasting money at this point, and then the stocks dropped, and it's just a lot going on with them.
Yeah, freaking. I don't really care about this shit. Like, I did think Disguised Toast had a good response because it was exactly what I was thinking. One of the FaZe members said that they're drawing the line on this shit, and then Disguised was like, "This is where you draw the line with celebrities." Is like, aren't you guys the ones that promote crypto scams and shit and dropping in bombs? I was like, exactly, bro, exactly. That's why I don't care about none of this shit. It's all drama to me. Fucking, it'll blow over in a week.
But like I said, it really only blew up just because she was a girl, and that's where they were like, oh, you're just hating on her because she's a girl. It's like, no, like it's a dumb signing. And then on top of that, like even if she did play video games or like video games now, like it's a signing that just makes no sense. It really came out of nowhere. Yeah, but that's what they've been doing. So
they need somebody to push some content.
And she's not. She's not
way better than the FaZe community. You should join the GI community or .gg/GIOP.
Yeah, link in the description box below if you're watching the video version to the Discord. Last but not least, this story was going viral on Twitter. A Warzone competitive player or pro admits on stream that he cheats, and when asked why he cheats, he said he needs the money. I don't know what it is. I think I'm getting old. Why is Gen Z allergic to job applications? I don't know what that's about. It's just, am I wrong though? I feel like I'm starting to see more of this, like just like struggling content creators. Like, bro, I worked a job before I went full time. There's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5, guys. It's
here it is. This is my crazy take about why that. So when we were younger, we grew up. We were asked what we were going to be when we grew up. A lot of it was, oh, I'm going to be an astronaut. Oh, I'm going to be the president of the United States. Oh, I'm going to be a scientist. Oh, I'm going to, I'm going to be a real nigga. Yeah, right. We have like tangible physical jobs. But this next generation that's growing up, they are constantly in front of social media, unlike us. Like we were born before it started to blow up, and then we got to see how it grew. So we got a different appreciation for it compared to, just existing in this, like in its current crazy fruition. It already is there for you immediately. And I think a lot of kids, like what you say too, a lot of kids, they especially kids whose parents aren't really like, really
active.
active in their lives. They kind of use the internet or video games or whatever it is to substitute as a parenting type of thing to like keep them busy. So they watch us, so they watch other people, and they just say, "Oh, I want to be that when I grow up." So then now, I think there was like actually like a research on this of like how the choices of jobs of what kids want.
Yeah, I read that article. They said like
change, right?
They said like
70%.
Yeah, they said like 70% of Gen Z wants to be a YouTuber
like
or like a TikToker. But the thing is that's in the West because they also polled kids in the East and they still want to be doctors and engineers. I said,
yeah, because it's not because the West is way more. Cali is way more about that influencer social media.
It's superficial.
Yeah, Midwest, we don't give a fuck about none of that shit. We think all that shit's fake. We don't find any of that shit even.
Well, no. You're misinterpreting what I'm saying. The article I read, I was talking about East as in like China.
Oh, I thought you were talking about.
I'm talking about the world. Western people as a whole, they're more so superficial. Now, I'm pretty sure there are pockets like in the Midwest and the South that don't care as much. But as a whole, as the West, the issue is that motherfuckers want to just be social media influencers.
Yeah, but I think that's why a lot of them, when they translate over to like, I want to do this and that, I think that's where like a lot of it comes from, is that like, this is the first time, like, okay, so if you want to give like we want, like, for example, when I was a kid, I wanted to be president of the United States because there was no black person before that. So I was like, I'm gonna be the first. And I was like fucking pissed Obama beat me to it. So I was like, God damn it. But that was like, I remember one of the first dreams I had as a kid. I wanted to be the first president of the United States. And I remember, but one of the things about that type of dream is that the way to get to that dream is very massive, right? Like, I'd have to not fuck up my life at all. I would not be able, never go in jail, get good grades, go to law school, do all these steps, get political science degree, go to college, like, and, do everything right, get into right internship, right? So I'd have to do all these steps. But when you think of it from an influencer standpoint and a YouTuber and being a TikToker or whatever it is, the barrier of entry is it's very low. It's very low. The way that you can get it now that phones are way accessible now, everyone can get their hands on a cell phone now. Anyone can get access to, TikTok, these apps and YouTube, whatever it is. So now, like doing Twitch streaming and stuff like that with any sort of console, that's why now the barrier of entry is lower. And that's why a lot of these kids don't care about trying to get that 5 or that other type of like career.
Pandemic made it worse too.
Yeah, and the pandemic made it worse because we're all stuck indoors. So I think that's just my like conspiracy, but that's why I think a lot of these kids just are kind of like quote unquote allergic to jobs is because they were never shown.
But here's the funny thing though, is like pro tip: if you do want to be a content creator, I promise you your content will be better if you go experience the real world. If you get a job, touch grass, interact with people, it gives you something to talk about. So then it makes you stand out. So it's like you're just shooting yourself in the foot all around.
Yeah, life experience. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you though. That's it's pretty round of money. Also the vanity of it, because again, with social media, you literally can see every single day of a famous person's life who you follow. So you see these things and you're like, hey, I want that. And 9 times out of 10, they're an influencer in some form or fashion, athlete, celebrity, whatnot. Like they have that vanity that you want, and you're like, well, how did they get that? And again, going back to the low barrier of entry, like I think that if you ask any Gen Z kid, do you want to spend 8 to 10 years in grad school to get this, to be a doctor or a lawyer? You want to take the bar? Like that's very tough. Or do you want to just pull out your phone, do a couple TikTok dances, and maybe you'll blow up? What are they going to choose? You're going to choose, hey, like I have a phone, I'm going to do a couple TikTok dances or make some skits, and I'm going to freaking blow up, and maybe I'll make a lot of money, and then everybody will know me. Then, hey, I'll be an influencer too, and be able to do all this other stuff that I see all these other people doing. So,
I don't know, man. It's looking spooky out here. Yeah, just get a job, guys. I promise you, your life will be much more fulfilled. It actually makes you appreciate content creation even more because you'll have less free time, so you'll be light a little fire under your ass to do more. Then again, what do I know? You guys have anything else you want to add to the conversation before we wrap this one up?
I think that's it.
It's been another 2-hour show. Ethos, you got the floor. What is your closing statement for Gaming Illuminati episode 143, I believe?
It is. Is that it?
It is. I checked it. It is.
Thanks for stopping by the stream. Holy crap. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Appreciate all you guys. We had an awesome last month on Discord stuff, and we have some new stuff that's going to be announced this week as well of all the cool stuff. We have almost doubled, I think, the amount of events that we did last month. We're going to be doing this month, so forward to all that. And where me and JG are going to be taking. I think we can talk about it, right? Because of the timing of this. Are you able to?
Yeah,
talk
we
about
can
this?
now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, me and JG will be doing a lot of the heavy lifting of stuff, and I think we're gonna be doing some cool community night stuff. TBH has some business stuff he has to take care of, so he might a little bit of, but we'll still be here for you guys. If you need anything, let us know.
Yeah. All right, Jay, what's your closing statement for episode 143? Go.
Yes, sir. Appreciate everyone for listening and or watching the latest episode. To be aware that next week, next Saturday, we will be doing the UFC event. So I will be hosting that
In the Discord.
Also, in the Discord. Make sure that you join the Discord, discord.gg/GI updates. It's going to be for the premium members. So make sure if you want to participate in that and watch the latest UFC event with your boy, that you subscribe, and we will all watch that together. I also want to try my best to watch the rest of the NBA finals game, so I want to do a watch party for those too. But we also have some more events that once Ethos gets everything together, gets a video going, you will know the full slate of events for the month of June. So just stay tuned. We're also doing Gundam. Ethos are doing Gundam. So they've been watching that. So we have a lot of things that we're doing. So just stay tuned.
There you have it. And my closing statement for episode 143 is make sure to hit the like button if you're watching the video version and rate the show 5 stars. Join the Discord like they said. And the next episode, it's going to be a little bit longer than because usually we do it bi-weekly, like every 2 weeks. It's probably going to be like 3.5. So the next one, just a heads up. Like they said, I gotta go out of town. I got some stuff I gotta handle. What we're doing, TBH, none of your business. Is NDA. I can't talk about it. But I won't be back until the 26th. Today's the 3rd. So yeah, the next episode probably won't be to probably top of the July, probably, depending on if there's any news. So yeah, there might be a little slowdown on the episode. Sorry about that. It is what it is. Y'all could get this paper. So we appreciate everybody coming through to the podcast. If you made it to this part of the show and you're watching the video version at youtube.com/GI updates, leave a comment, hashtag get a job. And we will see you guys on the next episode of the Gaming Illuminati podcast.
Remember, grown men don't play video games.
And they don't play Zelda and Mario either.
Dragon Ball Z and Zelda. Let's go.